welcome to Backpacker Radio, presented by The Trek. I'm your co-host, Zach Badger Davis. Sitting to my right is...
Hi, I'm Juliana Chauncey, a.k.a. Chaunce.
Got a few reminders before we get to today's very exciting and lively Q&A. The first one is... I get this question a lot. People want to know where is the best place to keep up with the Trek's content. Obviously, we are at the mercy of the social media algorithms, and Facebook likes to not deliver content. Instagram is an odd grab bag of stuff. If you want the best of the best of the best and to get all of our best giveaways and all that good stuff, the Trek's newsletter is the place to be. You can choose what content you want based on category. If you just want AT bloggers, if you want the daily newsletter, the weekly newsletter, there's a lot of different options. But highly recommend checking out our newsletter if you want the best content from the Trek. Also, we have some brand new hats. Woo. This is more hypothetical because as of this recording, we don't actually have them, but the tracking says they're going to be here tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
And as a thank you to our Patreon supporters, we're going to put a handful of them available in the Trek store. They will get first dibs at them. I expect we're not going to put money in the store, so I expect them to sell out. Otherwise, the ways that you can get the hats are by going to AT Trail Days. They'll be on sale there. Or be a guest of Backpacker Radio. It's going to be a giveaway freebie item for our lovely guests. Mm-hmm. And last but not leastly, do we make the announcement on this here?
Yeah, I think why not?
It's official.
It's going to be close enough by the time this airs.
You make the sounds. Yep.
That was, you want more than the sounds? You want the announcement too?
Yeah, the vocal sounds.
Oh, I thought you wanted exciting sounds.
Sound effects? No.
We are going to PCT Trail Days. Yay! I have not been since 2017 when I hiked through for the solar eclipse, which is very nostalgic this week as it is eclipse week. And Zach has never been.
Nope.
Ever.
Nope. Yeah, very excited. I obviously enjoyed Cascade Locks quite a bit hiking through. Fun little town. But yeah, never been to PCT Trail Days. We're still not sure whether we're going as attendees or as booths people. But either way, we will be there and we'll most definitely be getting some fun podcast content.
Yes, and speaking to that same little shtick we've been doing about if you know anyone at AT Trail Days, let us know if they're like someone you would want to hear on the episode. If you know anyone that's going to be at PCT Trail Days that you think would make a great guest on the pod, we have a guest request form in our show notes and on our link in our Instagram bio. If you think... Oh, and at backpackerradio.com. So if you think of someone that is going to be at PCT Trail Days that you would love to hear as a guest on the show, definitely put them in that guest request form so that we can get some names on the list.
Yes. I'm also realizing I skipped over one of my notes. We have other hats other than the Backpacker Radio hats. If you guys want to get a discount on Trek hats that aren't the BPR hats, use code GINGERSTUFF for a 15% discount. Okay. Let's do our Q&A.
Yay.
And obviously we can't go any further without introducing our esteemed third panelist.
Yeah, who is it?
This is probably a Backpacker Radio world record for the longest you've remained quiet, which I think might be coincidental to the fact that you are in a bout of sobriety right now.
Only with alcohol.
Yeah.
And smoking anything like, weed, cigarettes.
But
whatever.
hard drugs.
Yeah, all the harder ones are totally fine. It's just alcohol really gets me, man.
So which hard drugs have you entertained since your beginning sobriety?
None. Quite frankly, obviously. No, we talked about this last time I was on the pod, right?
Yeah.
Didn't we? I guess, but that hasn't hit yet.
No.
But it's been a month and, I don't know, a handful of days since my 41st birthday. And I honestly haven't even had an instance where I've been like, damn, I want to have one of those. Actually, I lie. There's been one instance at your children's, your twins' first birthday.
It was a rager.
It was not a rager, but there was a moment where everybody had car bombs, and I was like, damn, that does look good.
Yeah.
Chris, first birthday drink is that?
the guy who did our walls.
Chris did that?
Yeah.
Nice.
He had a St. Patrick's Day party, and they had a lot of supplies left over, so they were just ditching it off at our party. That's what happened.
It was like what is it called? St. Brendan's or St. Brenneman's was I don't think it was actually like whatever. What's the Irish liqueur? Or not? Yeah, what's the liqueur that? Bailey's. It wasn't
Yeah.
Bailey's. I think it was like
No. The knockoff.
the knockoff
Yeah,
brand.
Bailey's is wildly overpriced.
It's
anyways.
completely. I think it's called either St. Brendan's or St. Brenneman's. And it tastes exactly the same.
Yeah.
But I saw that and I was like, during COVID, I drank that every morning with like I have like 3 coffees every morning during COVID lockdown.
Yeah.
I went to the liquor store like the day before the lockdown happened, stocked up on like anything to make a coffee boozy, and that's what you can start in the morning without feeling like a piece of crap.
Yeah. I think we all drink our way through COVID.
Oh, I know what we did.
Yeah. Well. Cool. Well, you guys, if you've been listening to the podcast, you know our Q&A format. And we're not the first ones to do questions and answers. I think that's been happening for a while. But we've got some new ones for you here. I think this will make for some spicy conversation. Let's jump right into it. This one was spurred by me because I'm hopeful that I'll actually have a dermatologist on the podcast here shortly to go deep into the skin sun protection stuff.
I need to make an appointment. This is something that
Yeah.
maybe this will encourage me.
Podcast serves as Chance's appointment reminder.
I've never been to a dermatologist.
You've never been to one?
No,
That sounds
and my
stupid.
parents are going to
You're a
listen to this.
ginger.
Shame on you guys. You never took me.
Wow.
But now I've gone through life never having
You're an
gone.
adult though, right? How old are
I
you?
know, but I don't like making
How old
appointments
are
for
you,
myself.
Chance?
I'm not saying. I'm 32.
Chance, 32. You are old enough to go to the dermatologist.
I have
on your
one.
own.
I just have to call them.
How the hell? If you don't have one if you've never gone to one.
Well, I
Just-
have a number for one. I found one.
You don't have one if you haven't ever been to one.
I have a phone number in my phone.
Okay, that's nice. That's cute.
It's just like it's become such a big task now because I haven't done it forever.
So you have like anxiety with like
Yeah,
making the appointment because
yeah.
you're worried that your gingy skin is all gonna be like cancered up.
No,
like
I just
Zach's
like
face.
I just like have never been to one, so it's an appointment I've never had to make.
Have you
Yeah.
had that mole looked at?
No,
I have had.
by who?
At least like a normal doctor would be like, you should go see a dermatologist for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one has said that yet.
Okay.
Well, you've had doctors. You should think about getting a new doctor.
But yeah, we should definitely have a dermatologist on.
Yeah.
Every year I have my skin checked. Every
Yeah.
year.
No, I know I should.
Yeah.
I just haven't.
Now I'm doing that because I think there's no way that I don't use sunscreen a lot, and I'm out there all the time.
Yeah.
And I have that constant like, when is the cancer coming? You know, and I prefer not to use sunscreen intentionally, and I just start this season by getting a base tan, and then just the dirt the dirt covers the rest of it as best as possible.
I've noticed
Yeah.
that hikers are generally pretty nonchalant about that sort of thing, and that's why I think it'll be a good public service to have a dermatologist on to speak.
Yeah,
to
that's a
this
great
from
idea.
a scientific standpoint.
Yeah, like one, like I don't know, like can you find one that's like renowned? Katie.
Alex's.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you're gonna have her on.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Why'd you like whisper that? We're on a podcast.
It's not official yet. Also, I don't know. I guess that was kinda-
the title part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, that would be. I didn't realize she was a dermatologist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very
right on.
respected dermatologist.
Oh, good.
Went to
Great.
a great school, so
Yeah.
she'll be an awesome person to have on.
Sweet.
Okay. So that being said, the first question is here. What is your sun? Maybe this is not the best Q&A, given that you guys are both like, yeah, just get fucking fried to a crisp. But what is your sun protection strategy? And
Jesus.
this is specifically for highly exposed environments. And just to narrow it down even a little bit more, let's say it's like deserty, hot and dry.
Interestingly enough, and I just sort of alluded to a lot of it, but I mean, I will say it's not like I've never worn sunscreen. I've used plenty of sunscreen in my life, and I've used plenty of sunscreen on
Maybe
hikes.
even like a dozen times.
Yeah, maybe 12 to 13 times. So Sawyer makes a good sunscreen. I've used that quite a bit. And typically what I'll do is, if it's at the beginning of the season, I will like if I'm pasty. Listen. We all know that like you're subject to getting burned very easily if you go out there. You know, the first week in the deserts, whether it's PCT or CDT, Arizona Trail, whatever it is, like you're gonna get fried. And I've had that happen. Not to the extent of like you know, disgusting peeling, but like, you know, you get red, and that's not good. That's repeated times of getting burns like that. They as they say, and I'm, you know, someone like Katie can speak to this better than I can, but you know, that's just like, it just heightens your likelihood of having skin cancer.
Yeah.
By how much, I don't know. But once I have my base tan, dirt, you know, I sweat a lot, and dirt just sticks to sweat like crazy, especially in the legs because you're kicking it up so much. Yeah. You know, like I like when I wash the dirt off in town, it's like it's like my legs are still like white compared to what I've been looking at
Yeah.
as I've been watching my feet walk, you know?
Yeah.
It's like night and day. Now you're tanner than anyone else you'll run into who's, going about their day in town. But I don't, that's what I do. I like the more sunscreen you put on your skin while you're like working, the more dirt wants to stick to you too. And it's just like, it sucks to get in the bag at the end of the day covered in dirt. And we've all done it, right? You hope that you're camping near, a stream that you can at least wash your legs out before you get into your bag at night, or at least some point before you get to camp or whatever. I don't know about you guys. You guys are very, very red and white.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I wash off my legs in a stream before getting it. My tent is so fucking dirty. Like, the floor of my tent has leaves in it from like 3 years ago. I just like have never turned it inside out and shaken it out. I think I did that once, but it's like,
how does it smell?
Probably not good. One time I put it in a bear can to store it over the winter and like opened it in the spring.
That bear can never be used again.
It was not good.
Why did you do that?
Seemed like a good place to store it so I wouldn't forget where it was.
Is there anything you can do to get mildew out of a tent? Now I'm asking the question.
You would have to, first of all, like tent storage at the end of the season. What I do personally is first of all, I shake my tent out like at least once a week when I'm on trail, maybe
That's big
twice
of
or
you.
3 times.
Yeah.
Because it's gross. You have like your own skin follicles and hair floating around in there. It's fucking gross.
Pubes.
Yeah, pubes. Lots of our pubes. Zach's pubes. So I air my shit out for a full day, like when I get home, because if there's any moisture trapped in there, that's, the thing already smells like a through hiker's anus.
Yep.
And, airing it out is critical to like the actual material, like not having issues down the road. You're trying to mitigate that material getting like dry rot and shit like that, and packing away with any moisture in there or like, body oils, whatever the heck it is, only degrades that material further and further. And with these ultralight tents, that like you spend, a lot of people spend a lot of their hard-earned money on really nice ultralight tents, and you got to take care of that fabric as best you can. So, I mean, I don't do anything special beyond airing it out before I pack it away for the whole season. But none of my tents smell bad, except for when I'm in them farting. Ew.
So sun
Zach
protection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a steward for good tent storage. It just doesn't.
Wait,
like,
did we change the question already?
No, he
Someone did.
tangented.
Yeah.
Someone asked me
Yeah, no, I
about
did.
tent storage.
Yeah.
I did not. I said I put it in my bear can, and you took that and ran.
Yeah, but then Zach asked me that
Yeah,
a follow-up
I did.
question.
Run it back.
I'm the one that took us off the tracks here.
Well,
So let's
let's
get back
call
on.
Juliana.
Yeah.
She did.
So sun protection
How dare
strategy.
you.
So Tom doesn't do anything. Sounds like John probably doesn't do anything.
Excuse. If I'm thinking about the desert on the PCT as the sunny area of choice for this question, I avoid the sunny times of the day. Like, I will siesta hard, and I will hide wherever shade can be found.
That's more for heat than, well, obviously both, but
Yeah, I don't do well when it's hot out and exposed. Like, it just like is not when I'm at my prime, and so I think better to just like, I'm not hiking very fast to start, and so if I slow down because it's hot and I'm bothered, I'm like,
Say that again.
I'm barely going faster than if I just don't hike at all.
Yeah.
Right? So I like to siesta. I like to take off the sunniest hours of the day and have a nice long lunch nap. I also will wear a long sleeve. I think that is more preferable to me than like rubbing sunscreen onto dirt. There's just something weird feeling about that. So I'll wear a long sleeve.
I'm with you on that weird feeling for sure.
Yeah, it's like,
If your skin's already dirty the following day,
Yeah.
like, and you want to in the morning put sunscreen on before it gets to be like 10 a.m., like you're just smearing yesterday's filth all over your skin.
yeah,
It's gross.
It's a fun thing. And then you have that smell. But I will bring a little tube and use that on my face.
Yeah, the nose is like a
Yeah.
major.
for sure.
I
you know,
like.
have to even with wearing a
That's a
hat.
bad place to get skin
Yeah.
cancer too.
I do like the chapsticks that have sunscreen. I think that's a fun one because I'm going to be putting on chapstick anyway. And I need to get better about a hat, which I think I have been. Like, I used to not think that I could pull off a hat, and I used to not like how they felt on. And then one day
Just use a visor.
I woke up. That's not going to do the job.
No, just wear a visor.
But I woke up one day and decided I'm going to be a hat person, and
Yeah.
that's when I got my Bills hat. And I think since I have
Do you hike
embraced,
in that?
I think I have.
Yeah.
I don't remember. But I think
I know we can get a cool backpacker radio hat.
yeah, so I'm excited about those.
Are you a Patreon supporter?
I hope so.
Adamant about the cool part.
But like Element, they sent us some really nice hats.
Yeah.
So I've worn that a lot. But nothing for me is worse than when you get the scalp sunburn. Like,
Sure.
have you had your scalp burn?
My hair's thinning. I know every type of sun. Although I'm always in a hat now.
Yeah.
And that's largely the reason why.
What's nice is I've got like thick hair. When it's in a ponytail, it's like a nice layer, but I still get scalp sunburn, and that is like I want to avoid that at all costs. So I have embraced a hat more than I did on the PCT.
Yeah. Weren't you wearing one of those Jolly shirt?
Yeah. So I was, when she mentioned, you know, I was, when I'm talking about like skin protection, I should preface that by saying there have been times that I have worn long sleeve things to prevent, you know, skin cancers, burning, whatever. The Jolly Gear shirt is a shirt I've worn.
But you're wearing the short sleeve version of that, right?
I made it a cutoff.
Yeah, right.
I just in the dead of summer, I sweat so much, and the material just gets, it's chafage at a certain point. You're fighting, you know, with the amount of sweat that I sweat. I sweat a god awful amount, and you know, the more material that's on my body, the more salt gets caked in to all those fibers, and again, that's just chafage. So and just it's uncomfortable when you're wearing a baggy, sweaty thing. So when I was doing the Wind River High Route last year, I used at the time it was a prototype Jolly Gear shirt. I almost said Jolly Green. Jolly Gear shirt that was like a lighter material. So I actually kept the sleeves on for that when I was doing the Wind River High Route. Because when you're in the Alpine, you're actually at a higher risk for burning than you are even down in the desert, just because the atmosphere is thinner up there.
Yeah.
Less whatever it is, there's less of it's in the air than the sun can
Just
burn
more
you.
direct UV rays.
Yeah, and you're also on snowfields, which it magnifies the sun even more.
It
and you
reflects off the snow.
Exactly. So, so there are instances where I've definitely worn sun shirts, and even on my bike packing trip in New Mexico, when it was like 100 degrees in June, I was wearing a white short sleeve shirt with white. I forget the name of the company that made the sleeves. It might have been Pearl Izumi, I think it actually was. So they were just like sun sleeves. So like I was totally covered from neck to dick in white. So that's a way to get around not having to wear sunscreen. But at the same time, I just want to feel the wind, you know. And I actually like getting sun. You know, there's benefits to. I'd love when you have Katie on or whoever, you know, anyone who's a dermatologist. If you're out there, like, I'd love to know actually like the balance of like getting sun versus using sunscreen. You know, like is sunscreen bad for us? And you know, is it worse for us than actually getting the sun? You know, I don't personally know, but to this day, you know, I don't have anything that resembles anything that looks like cancer, and so far so good on that front. I don't want to, you know, 10 years from now be like, oh, I wish I'd been wearing more sunscreen, or I'm glad I didn't wear more sunscreen. Which one of those is going to be true in 10 years for me? I don't know.
Well, I also think like with the long sleeves, part of me likes that better because if I'm doing a 5-6 day resupply stretch, the amount of sunscreen, if I were to wear like what I like to wear, which is shorts and a tank top, the amount of sunscreen to cover all the extremities, the face, the neck, the hands, all of it.
Like,
it's
that's expensive and it's a lot. Yeah,
and it's like heavy to carry, and
Yeah.
then you need to bank on having somewhere at the next town to replenish like that quantity of sunscreen, and you're just like you're not showering in between days, so you're just caking it on layer after layer after layer.
That can't be
and you're
good.
supposed to reapply it every so often. So if I'm hiking a full day, like that's just a fuck ton of sunscreen.
Yeah, it's really diligent. Then you're sweating and it like gets in your eyes and it's on your hands, and then you're like tasting
touch
it
your
and
eyes.
shit.
So I think for me personally, it has been more effective to use a longer layer because I can rely on it more and feel less gross. But the one thing I always get the rude reminder of when I start a hike is putting the sunscreen on like your thumb to pointer finger, like hiking pole facing the sun.
I've never
part
had
of
a
your
burn
hand.
there.
Oh,
Seriously?
they get bad.
No.
Oh yeah, I get them on my hands.
That's one of
Really?
those.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like when like guys at the pool forget to put sunscreen right above their shorts, and they sit down for a while and they always burn right there.
Yeah.
That's where I always end up burning, is on this like hand part that points to the sky when I'm holding my trekking poles.
You know, you mentioned scalp burning. I obviously wear hats like all the time, but right now I have a very bald head, very bald head right now. I have one of those like shavers that's designed for your bald head. So
You wanna show
my
YouTube?
shit's smooth.
Yeah, show YouTube.
Shit's
Go
smooth,
right up to the
baby, like
camera.
a baby's bottom.
Oh yeah.
Now, just
Straight out of the camp of
as of
Joe
a
Rogan.
week ago, there was a mullet back here,
Yeah.
which I call the skullet. But I'm going to a wedding, and I had to get rid of that to look semi-presentable. Now, where I'm going with this is when I was in middle school, I shaved my head for the first time. I think the summer of like my 6th or 7th grade year, and my family and I went to this lake called Eaglesmere in north central Pennsylvania, and I didn't put any fucking sunscreen on, and I was out at the beach all day, and I burned my scalp so bad. I mean, within a day or two. Have you ever seen sun poisoning? Have you ever seen what that?
I've had it.
You've had it? How
Yeah.
bad?
Bad, like rashes all over my
Like
body.
like open blisters?
Not to that extent, but
I
rashes.
had sun poisoning to like a god off all over my head. All over it was just like giant blisters that were popping and pussing, and like when they crystallize and they harden and dry, dude,
Yeah.
it was like a fucking like nightmare.
Yeah.
It was like a horror show.
Yeah.
It was disgusting.
Yeah.
So I learned that lesson the hard way back then, and here I am with a bald head again. And I 2 years ago I had the skullet as well, but I was wearing a helmet, a hat and a helmet the entire time, so my dome didn't see the light of day.
Yeah.
Like so, but as an adult, you guys get like where it's like it hurts a little, or like you get like blisters.
Yeah.
Like on the scalp, are you talking about?
Yeah, hurt.
Yeah, like where you take a hot shower, it hurts to
Yeah,
shower.
Yeah.
Okay. Right on.
I will say though, there's something like weirdly soothing about getting a nice little peel. And you
Ugh.
can just peel it.
Yeah, but then
I
you put it on your salad like it's a crouton, and then you eat your salad. Is that what you're talking about?
No,
Oh.
no.
Gold member.
But when you get to peel a nice sunburn, and that's what I was thinking too when I said it.
It's salt. I could tell by your skin. It's salty.
There's something fun about peeling a sunburn. That being said, I will say I did something very big this week, which was I got a moisturizer that has SPF. I never go out of my way to do that. I like never really wore moisturizer prior to the most recent
You're
few
all grown
years.
up now,
Yeah.
Sean.
So I've started wearing moisturizer, and I went so far as to get one with an SPF. So I'm really proud of myself.
Yeah. This might be the only time in my life where I've been very grateful for body hair, is because that reduces the amount of sunscreen that I
No
need.
doubt.
So I'm the same way as you. I actually don't ever put sunscreen on my legs. If I'm starting out in a very exposed environment, my skin hasn't adapted at all,
Yeah.
I'll put it on in the areas where it's a little bit thinner, like up by my thighs if I'm wearing shorter shorts. But yeah, the hair, to my experience, has done a pretty good job of blocking the sun.
Well, and like my beard, my face, with the exception of if I don't shave my cheeks, my beard comes up to like just below my eyelids.
Yeah.
And right now I'm in the middle of like keeping it trimmed.
You're a
but-
certified ape.
Yeah,
You're a gorilla.
I'm
for
an
sure.
ape man.
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes was written about me, my future, my family's future. No, but like, so I haven't seen my face since like early 2013.
Yeah.
So the sun literally has not penetrated my beard, like the skin underneath it, in over a decade. So does that mean I'm going to look like a youthful boy when I shave it next?
Maybe
Yeah.
just on the bottom half.
Listen to it.
Top half is wrinkled, bottom half is just smooth.
You watch your mouth when you're talking to me.
Yeah.
I'm a youthful boy underneath all this.
You will address me as such.
That is a good point, though. I will intentionally grow out my beard for backpacking trips just because it's
Same.
less sunscreen to have to.
Totally.
Chauncey's got a big beard.
Yeah.
She does a good job hiding
Just
it.
wear
Yeah.
just wear one.
Yeah.
Just put a face mat on your. Just cut up a carpet, a rug,
Yeah.
hanging off your face.
UL rug.
Shag.
Excited to go way deeper on this subject when we've got a dermatologist
Yeah.
on,
Same.
but I can make a recommendation for a sunscreen that she has recommended to me. This is probably expensive to use exclusively as a sunscreen for the duration of a through hike, but it's Elta MD. It is a zinc oxide, so instead of being like a chemical-based sunscreen, it actually like blocks the sunlight from ever touching your skin. And I've used other zinc oxide sunscreens where like it just stays on you. Like you picture someone at summer camp and just like the corny like white glaze that's covering your face. This actually
Powder.
Yeah. This will rub in pretty nicely, and it is on the pricier side, so you don't want to use it for places other than your face. But I do now bring that on my backpacking trips. I've talked about this ad nauseum in the past, but I'm a big proponent of the sun umbrella.
Oh yeah, I use that in the CDT in the desert for sure. Sometimes it's a bit cumbersome, but definitely, just almost with like heat management, it's great. And and the sun does zap your energy too. So keeping the sun off of your shoulders, your arms, your upper arms at least, a sun umbrella is great. And I've been using a Gossamer Gear one for a long time.
Yeah, I'm like you. I don't like too much clothing on me. I get too hot. I sweat too much. So I'm not the biggest fan of sun hoodies. I know they're very popular. We're actually looking for ways to introduce them into the Trek store because I'm a big fan of them in principle, just not myself. But yeah, with being such a hot person, I don't want clothes on top of me, which is why I love the umbrella. You can get the shade cast on you and you still get the airflow as well.
Yeah.
So might I recommend, if you are going to introduce them to the Trek store, for my own personal pleasures, I hate like a hood. Sometimes hoods just like they feel like too much around your neck. Get a crew neck. Get a little sun crew neck. I'll support that. I'll take that out. I'll take.
What
some
the hell is
pics.
a sun crew neck?
It's one without a hood. I haven't seen them.
Oh, you just want? Oh, I'm sorry. You just
one.
want one without the hood entirely. Okay.
I don't like hoods. They pull.
Yeah.
They make me feel like I'm getting strangled. I don't love a hood.
Strangled.
Yeah, because they're just like on your neck the whole time. You can just
Well, first of all, the Jolly Gear one specifically, like it's a button down. You can you don't have to have it like up. You can have it unbuttoned. You can let your girls breathe a little. You know?
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Crew neck.
Yeah.
Planting the seed for that.
And this is a thing that I've used in only the Southern California desert. And I think I would if I was going to do something like the Arizona Trail, but I don't like it. And it is very corny looking, is the sun gloves.
Cuckoo Bird is a sun glove guy. He's been actually using the same pair of sun gloves for like 5 years maybe. And these things look like the most disgusting, like they're like lace at this point, and I should have him send you a picture of them. I think I've taken pictures of them while they've been on him, but I'm not when I see someone wearing a pair of sunglasses, I think of like Madonna from that one music video where she wears like those like fishnet ones. That's what I think of, and I'm just like, everybody's wearing fishnets. Yeah, I think it's during that one for sure. I've never done it. I won't do it, at least until the doctor says I must.
Yeah, but I implore anyone listening to this to take the sun seriously. You guys don't want skin cancer. I remember when I was getting my first basal cell removed, I was probably Charles's age. And yeah.
How old are you now?
I'm 38.
Okay.
And the doctor in there was like, the nurse is like, honey, you're way too young to be in here, because it's all like 60 and 70-year-old people getting their basal cells removed, and me, it was not a cool feeling.
How many have you had removed at this point? You've had plenty, I feel
so
like.
That's a good reason to go to the dermatologist, because if they catch it while they're small enough, they can do some other things to take care of it. There's like a chemical application. If it's small enough, when they do the biopsy, they can get it with a border, so they just remove it there. Wow. But yeah, I think I've had one plastic surgery to have one removed, which left not a good scar, and then 2, it's called Mohs surgery, which is like the correct surgery for a basal cell. So yeah, I
said how many?
3.
Oh, that's it? I thought there was like, I remember more for some reason.
Yeah, no, I think some of the smaller ones have been caught early enough that they were able to handle them that way. But 3 surgeries for basal cells.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, kids, wear your sunscreen. Let's shift gears. Let's talk about your most underrated piece of gear in your pack. So nothing in your big 3.
Oh, you know what it is? I fucking carry a pillow now.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I carry a inflatable pillow.
I think this is an old person thing, because I feel like everyone in their 20s who's like hardcore into the UL world laughs at this.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there.
Same.
Yeah, of course. You use your food. You use well, you know, I don't know if it has to do with my age so much. It just has to do with like, I'm tired of like waking up with my neck fucked up.
Sure.
And like your sleep, you know, basically like the evolution of the last 11 years of my through hiking career. It's like you start really getting a sense after 30 to 35,000. I don't even remember what the number is anymore. Miles. You really are like, okay, well, what do I value? I value my sleep. I value getting a good night's sleep so that I can wake up and hike and not feel like a miserable piece of shit.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is being comfortable while sleeping. You know, the pillow is. The inflatable pillow. There's like an ultralight Sea to Summit one. I think I've got a Thermarest one too. Yeah. And then I've also used a Montbell one, and I like the ones that have that like the top side is like a little piece of like microfiber, so it's like you can put your bare head against it and not feel like it's up against silk nylon sweating overnight. You know, it's just been the last 2 years I've carried a pillow.
Yeah. And having the fabric over it is nice because putting it directly onto plastic in whatever form it is, it gets hot at night. Yeah. Like it just reflects the heat from your head back on you.
Yes, for sure.
I have not carried a pillow, but when we drove out to do the JMT, I felt Mims's. She gave it to me and was like, feel how cool this feels. Yeah. I was very jealous.
Do you know what she has?
No, but I knew that every night when I was in my tent, I was thinking about how she had that in her tent, and I was jealous. Yeah. For me, what I value is not being cold. I get really, I don't know if this is normal, but I get a really cold butt when I'm sleeping, and I get really cold kneecaps. My kneecaps and my butt are the coldest parts of my body when I sleep.
Well, the butt has like the least amount of like veins in it or something. It's just all fat, so there's no like blood flow the way blood flows through muscles. And obviously your kneecaps are there's no good blood flow at kneecaps too. So that's
so they get very cold.
And women usually sleep colder than men too.
Yes, and I sleep cold. I sleep very cold, and so that's something that I don't like because then I can't sleep through the night, and I just feel awful the whole time. And so one thing I added that I hate taking out, even in the dead of summer, I battle myself about, come on, can I just bring it, is my Montbell puffy pants.
Oh, I've never carried puffy pants.
Oh my God, they are the nicest thing in the world. You get to camp, you set up your tent, you throw all your shit in it, you slide them on, and you go to make your dinner. And you are just warm, and other people are bitching about how it's cold, and you're just sitting there feeling a little elite. I am warm, I am comfortable, I am a soft pillow. When you have your puffy jacket on with it. Do you wear it to
bed then too?
Oh my God.
You wear it in your sleeping bag as well?
I wear my puffy jacket. Yeah. I wear my puffy pants, and I wear puffy booties.
You have puffy booties?
I am a literal marshmallow when I get into my puffy sleeping bag.
And now is this on every hike you go on?
Any that's feasible.
New trail name Puff Mommy?
Yeah, Puff Mommy.
Yeah, you have to pronounce it that way. I want to hear the H in Mommy.
Yeah, that's M-A-M-I.
M-A-H. M-I. Mom.
M-A-H. Mommy.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's I battle myself to not take them when it's the middle of July because I know that I'm just going to be so soft and so comfortable and feel so pleasant that I just want them at all times. I wear them around the house. Yeah. This piece of gear I wear all the time.
I can't even fathom.
It's amazing.
They're
pretty light too.
I'm hot even in my own home, with a fan on. I can't even fathom extra insulation. I'm trying to lose insulation on my body.
I love them so much. I would wear them right now.
Gross.
Yeah, so that's mine.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with. This is something that you turned me on to, and they're actually a former sponsor of the podcast, and I featured this in their ad read, is the Vargo bot. I genuinely love that thing very much.
Yeah, that is, I can't believe that it hasn't been, at least to my knowledge, no one's replicating that.
Yeah.
So, and maybe they've got a specific, I'm having a brain fart.
Patent.
Thank you. Patent. Wow.
Can you tell the boys and girls at home what it is?
Yes. So the Vargo bot, I believe I used this.
By the way, bot is a word that is a combination of two words. Bottle, pot, bot.
There you go. Well, so that's part of the description. But it's
shout out to Brian Vargo, who was my former boss.
Yeah.
A whole story about how I got into through hiking because I worked at Vargo Outdoors prior to through hiking.
I think you've told that.
We could do that next. I haven't heard it.
From veteran to Vargo to Viking. I wrote a lengthy article about it for their blog. Carry on.
Yeah. This is a screw top, water sealable titanium pot. So you can use this for cold soaking. You put your food in there. I know a lot of people will carry the the Talente jars for this. This functions as
which is plastic, by the way.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
not
with
great.
all the nanoplastic news that came out late, you probably don't want to be doing that. This functions very well as a pot, and in a pinch, you've got an extra 3/4 of a liter of water storage. So it's very versatile, lightweight, and during the PCT when it was hot hiking through Northern California in August, there are times where you don't want a hot dinner, and those are the times where we resorted to cold soaking, and I know there's a lot of cold soaking enthusiasts out there. I just love this thing because it gives you that option. You can cook in it, and it's additional water storage. It's very
Yeah,
close to
so
the
that
base.
you're referring to the 700 milliliter. Now they also make a full liter.
Yep.
And in both of those bots, you can buy the HD version, which has a handle built in. And for both of them, they are you can fit the small canisters of fuel inside them as well. And I think for both of them, you could probably fit your stove in the 700 milliliter one, but definitely you can fit your stove and a lighter into the 1 liter one. But so cold soaking, yes. I have definitely used it as an extra water carrier for sure.
It's always nice to have the emergency backup water storage. Like I don't ever rely on it, but there's times where I'm like, shit, I need more water than I thought I would.
Or even if you cook food and you just don't want to eat it all, you can seal it in there and eat it later. Or if you're in town and you want to pack food out, you could put it in there as well.
Yeah.
Depending on what your leftovers are, you know, from a restaurant or something like that. Now, here one thing I will say about this: so it has a siliconized, like heat resistant, like rubber gasket, so that you can seal it and water doesn't come spilling out. When it gets it's like pressure. It gets pressurized. So if you're having issues with it being like you can't unscrew it, like you can get out your credit card and just basically like with your credit card pry that little gasket open and you'll hear the pressure release. Yeah, so that's just one little hack that I've learned over the years of using one. Like if you go climb Whitney and you try to like cook up there or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna have a tough time opening that thing.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
And what was the other thing I was gonna say? The last thing I'll say is a lot of people keep their stoves or that pot rather, their bot or whatever on the like in the outside of their backpack, like in this giant stuffed mesh pocket.
Yeah.
Be careful leaning against that or sitting on your pack with it in there. Like titanium is strong, but it's not. You can bend it.
I've dented many a pot.
Yeah,
and then the lid doesn't fit anymore, and you're
right.
just like, fuck.
But when it comes, but so you know, with a pot that doesn't, you don't have to worry about something screwing on. It's not as big of a deal. But if a pot you're trying to utilize as a container that's airtight, bending it can really significantly affect that. So just be aware of that when you're using that thing.
Yeah, and the hinge at the handle can get a little bit sharp too.
Sure.
So I try to avoid putting it in the exterior pocket because it can rip through the mesh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the versatility of that piece. It is titanium, which is not a cheap material, so it's
but it'll
not a
last you
cheap
forever.
piece. But yeah, I still have mine from the PCT, and I use it as my go-to pot for everything.
I've got a small patent pending.
Yeah.
Based on Jabba's ew plastic.
Yeah.
On the topic of everyone using smart water bottles, and that being plastic, I think it'd be very cool to see someone, Vargo, whoever, make a bottle that's titanium that is the exact size and shape of a smart water bottle with the screw top that allows like the Sawyer squeeze.
Yeah, but so here's
but titanium.
I'm with you.
Where does that go wrong?
Well, the Sawyer is a Sawyer squeeze for a reason.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, so dumb.
Now
that is so dumb.
It's okay. It's okay.
That's a really good idea, though. Apart from that flaw,
Squeezable titanium.
Squeezable titanium. There we go. That's
honestly, so you're not. That's not stupid.
That could be the clean bottle.
Well, so I have often thought of, can you create something that is squeezable metal? You know, that's basically like as tough as titanium, but like that's like aluminum foil more so, and you can blow it back up. And it doesn't get like the wrinkles can kind of come out, you know, by like blowing back into it.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't, you know, if it's like a metal balloon is what we're talking about here. Now we're talking like space age shit probably.
Yeah.
But you can have your clean water bottle be this titanium bottle because you're not squeezing your clean water bottle. You're only squeezing into your clean water bottle.
Wait, say it again.
The clean water bottle, you're not squeezing. You're only squeezing into the clean water bottle.
Yeah.
So the clean water bottle could be...
Oh, yeah, for absolutely. Or you can just use metal water bottle, you know, metal, or, you know, you can use stainless steel. It doesn't have to be titanium. You know, you can use cheaper stainless steel bottles. Now, it's not going to be as light as titanium.
Yeah, but those
like,
exist.
They do exist. And by the way, Vargo literally makes titanium water bottles, both of the liter variety, and I think the other size is like 24 ounces, and I have them, and I use them for all kinds of other things, but not through hiking.
Yeah, I guess the part of mine was that the Sawyer could go on to it. This is counterproductive.
Well, so you don't need to carry a smart water bottle, but you do need to have a bottle that is squeezable of some sort to be able to. So I still just use those. What are they called? There's like a whole bunch of companies that make. Well, for example, the Catadine Bee Free. Those bladders are great. Like as far as squeezing goes, the Sawyer ones are like not as pleasurable to squeeze. I would say
the seams are a little bit sharp.
Yeah, it's a pain. You roll them, but like the Catadine one, you can just squeeze it however the hell you want.
I will say, devil's advocate, loved having the Bee Free. I had it on part of the Appalachian Trail until it was like I was playing the recorder again in middle school. Like you get these little punctures in it, and then you see them, and you're covering them all with weird hand movements.
Zach was using Leukotape to
that only lasts for so long.
Yeah, I just remember being like. Me playing Mary Had a Little Lamb, but it was me trying to get water into my bottle, just like squeezing different fucking holes.
Yeah.
And the filters on those get bad quickly. I remember the backpacking trip I did last year with my buddy Chris. I was asking if I could use his Bee Free on a backpacking trip. He's like, sure, I've only used it for a handful of trips. And by the end of the trip, he was using my squeeze because it was significantly faster than his Bee Free. So they're awesome when they're new. But
you can't properly field maintenance them at all. Somebody's gonna figure it out where it's like the perfect thing will come down. I mean, I still go back to the Sawyer. Here's the way you get around.
Squeezing metal.
Squeezing metal. You don't bring a filter that requires you to squeeze.
What about the patent pending? So one of those Vargo titanium bottles, but like built into the interior of it is something that is like the SteriPen technology, where like it's like using.
Well, so that's one, but also Aquamira.
But I don't like the floaties. I don't want floaties in my drink.
Well, then you get a screen for.
Yeah, maybe it has like a mesh screw on, like a super thin.
Yeah. Or you have a like piece of screen that you just hold over it when you dip your bottle, because those mouths on like the Vargo titanium bottle is a wide, like I wouldn't say wide mouth like a Nalgene, but like it's wider than a smart water bottle.
Yeah.
So it's like that big right there, and you can easily dunk that in floaty water like crazy with a screen over it. And some people use like their handkerchief or something like that. I've definitely done that.
I've used a bandana before.
And it's a pain in the ass with a smart water bottle.
Yeah.
My problem with that is when you see it all. Like I don't want to see it. I don't want to see how the meat is made. I don't want to see.
Well, your metal bottle, you can't see shit. Just drink it.
Exactly.
So there you go. What out of sight, out of mind. Don't look down into it. Just
what if we
drink
made partner with Sawyer metal squeezes?
Again,
it's got to invent a new kind of metal.
Titanium foil is what we're talking about here. The most expensive foil known to man. Titanium foil. Stuff the space shuttle's made out of.
Did you do your most underrated piece of gear?
He started.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's my most beloved.
Yeah.
Not really.
What was yours?
The bot.
Oh yeah. This whole conversation.
The entire time.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, this one will take a little bit of brainstorming, I assume. But what is the single food item that has been in your food bag the most over your backpacking career?
Like I've had it in there and not eaten it, so it spent the most amount of time in my bag. Because that's mashed potatoes.
A fucking oatmeal. Just been sitting there.
You could look at it that way. But the thing that's in the highest percentage of your resupplies.
I mean, when you backpack as much as me, you go in waves, but there certainly are some heavy hitters, and it would be hard to like pinpoint one because they happen to be, like a ramen and a
pasta side.
Yeah, I'm over pasta sides for sure. Even cooking them, I'm fucking over them.
They're so space efficient
first of all, pasta sides are fucking gross. The rice sides are the way.
Agree to disagree. I love both.
Yeah. Have you ever tried to cold soak a pasta side?
No, I tried to cold soak.
Don't do it.
I tried to cold soak risotto, and I didn't realize that the cold wouldn't like penetrate the membrane, and I shit my pants for like the next 24 hours.
That's hysterical, because you had just whole
foods. It was a terrible experience. A really bad experience.
You were eating like big flax seeds.
Yeah. And it was one of those days on the AT where it just rained for 48 hours, so it was just sad all around.
Gross. So I would say the heavy hitters for me would be a ramen chicken, a Snickers for sure.
Snickers was my
It's
answer.
it's just there.
Yeah.
It's just it's palatable.
I think it's the only bar that I haven't gotten sick of.
Yeah.
Even when I'm going through like 3 a day for weeks straight.
Yeah.
Even at my least enjoyment of it, I still like it.
Yeah.
And I would have to say that the Idahoan instant potato.
Really?
See, that's what spends the most time in my bag.
No,
Yeah,
I can
I
eat those
agree.
no
That's
problem because I can eat them cold. And you don't need heat. You just mix cold water, and I just eat that. It's fine.
I appreciate them because they do. I would say that's probably the thing that gets rid of hunger at the most economical rate.
Yeah.
And they're easy to make.
Yeah.
But they're not enjoyable so much for me.
I love them. I still love them to this day. You know.
I've tried them with powdered butter. I've tried them with powdered milk. I've tried them when you get the packets where you can make the gravy with it. Like I've tried so many things to
I get
make
the loaded,
them.
by the way. The loaded ones.
I've tried all the flavors.
Yeah, the
All
loaded
of
one's
them.
the best, hands down.
Where I settle with them is they live at the bottom of my pack in case all goes wrong, I get lost and I need to just like eat something until I'm found because they're light enough and they are filling. But I also, when I need calories, I'll pour them into other shit. Like when I'm cooking my nor pasta side, I'll pour some potato in.
Yeah.
If I'm making a ramen, I'll pour some potato in. Like
I don't
it's
mix
not
them.
enjoyable.
I
It's
don't
not
mix
nice.
them.
It's not
Yeah,
fun.
no. It's just functional.
But
this
it thickens-
is caloric intake function.
Yeah.
Over anything dealing with desire.
Yeah.
Or like palate, like flavor, like none of it matters to me. That's why. And by the way, cleaning up a potato is easy. To like just rinse a little water in there with your hand, and it comes up. It's not like caked.
Or just leave it for next time.
No, I don't fuck around like that. I rinse my shit.
I would say mine is probably M&M's. I usually
Peanut.
I like to
right?
yes,
Yeah.
peanut M&Ms.
Or
I
peanut
like
butter.
to.
Which one?
You know what's funny?
Peanut
is
butter
I
goes
have
down
a-
quicker.
I have a tube of those mini M&Ms in my backpack right now, and I got the blue tube because I thought it was a fun color. Didn't realize it was fucking peanut. I was so disappointed. But I like to, when I'm doing a resupply, I like to pack a little snack that's a nice treat
see the way
for
Chauncey's
every
dancing.
day. YouTube.com.
She's very happy about it.
Every day gets a nice fun snack. And so maybe one will be gummy worms, one will be M&Ms, one will be a couple cookies. Every day gets a nice fun snack.
Yeah.
And so with every day getting a nice fun snack, M&Ms are usually always in my pack as one of those days, as is something I like to switch up in case I'm in different moods. So I'll have a chocolate, which is typically the M&M. I'll have a sweet gummy, which is typically like a trolley gummy worm.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll do like a cookie type. So I'll put some sort of cookie. But I'll usually have definitely one of those. When it comes to meals, pasta sides are just so freaking easy. And if I don't have hiker hunger, I get 2 meals out of 1 pasta side. And that is very space efficient.
Yeah, and cost effective.
Yeah, super. And
Which is what the bot is good for you because you can save that meal for later in the bot.
there you go.
Smart.
I actually have had really good luck. This is now we're on a tangent, but taking one of those backpacking meals that comes like a backpacker pantry in one of those packets, I will have if I know I'm not hungry enough to eat it all for dinner, I'll actually make it for breakfast. And I'll eat some for breakfast.
And let it
And
sit
if it's
overnight.
cold out, I'll just put it in the front of my leggings,
Yeah.
and it keeps me my belly
That's
area
the crotch
warm.
pot, baby.
Yeah, it keeps me warm, and then I'll have more of it at lunch, and then I'll just finish it off at
Yeah,
dinner.
I've
Have you
definitely
used the
done
crotch
that.
pot?
What's up?
Have
I
you-
have used the crotch pot
Yeah.
before. If anybody doesn't know what the crotch pot is, it's literally just like a dynamic human fiber sack that you clip to your waist belt, like your waistline on your shorts or pants, whatever it is, and you let it rest. You let your cold soaking meal in like a Ziploc or whatever it's in. You let it rest in this little sack against your fupa
Yeah.
in your crotch.
I think that's one of our most read gear reviews of all time is the Gossamer Gear crotch pot.
It's not a joke.
Yeah, it looks like a April Fool's Day thing.
It's
and
not.
I've never used it.
I was one of the first people to ever like get one
Yeah.
before they even like hit the market, and I used it more as a novelty when trying to go ultra light. Like my most like ultra light, like my like back in the day when I cared about trying to be ultra light. I don't think I ever got less than like 8 or 7 pounds, but like that's when I took to a crotch pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wouldn't recommend it necessarily because at a certain point you're just like how hot does it really get? It doesn't get hot. It just gets like lukewarm.
It gets crotch hot.
Like
Yeah.
quite frankly, I think you can get crotch hot, hotter than crotch hot. This is amazing. I think you can get hotter than crotch hot if you like start your cold soaking like midday and have it on the outside of your pack, like the sun beating down on it. Like it's gonna get warm.
Yeah. So now we talked about the nanoplastics in water bottles. You're talking about putting your food on the outside of your pack.
Just fuck you, okay?
Did you follow the news stories about the amount of nanoplastics that leach from water bottles?
I mean, I try and stay clear of that knowledge because of how much I've used plastic.
Same.
Well, so now I'm asking from the standpoint of, is that going to alter anything you do from a gear standpoint moving forward?
Absolutely could.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, but at a certain point, like, I mean, I'm wearing fleece right now. You know, like we wash our clothes that are made with petroleum it's in everything. Our tap water has microplastics in it.
Yeah.
You know?
I just think when I'm hiking, like when I'm doing a long distance hike, I'm doing some relatively healthy fit shit out there. I'll give me a plastic water bottle.
Well, it's just like
I can't win everything.
Ingesting microplastics is a totally different ballgame.
Apparently, nanoplastics are significantly worse than microplastics.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I didn't even know this. So nanoplastics, they're in our bloodstream, right?
I think that stays in your body forever, which is why I am legitimately considering revising my water storage strategy.
As far as going titanium?
I want a soft metal, squeezeable metal.
You want a squeezable metal?
I probably would do like a camelback or platypus like reservoir.
Because of the sun hitting? Because of the sun hitting it?
Well, one, I think that it is a more durable plastic, and two, it's not exposed to the sun. I think that makes a big difference.
Is that the problem? Is because it's exposed to the sun?
I imagine it is a problem.
I also live with my head in a roll.
If you've ever left a water bottle in your car, like
that tastes like plastic.
It tastes like pure plastic.
It does.
And
absolutely.
Definitely,
you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Dude, when I was in Iraq, oh my God, dude, they used to drop our pallets of water, and these are like 1.5 liter water bottles, maybe 2 liter bottles of water. They would just leave. They'd come on pallets and they'd be wrapped in cellophane so that it didn't fall off the pallets, because they were just like cases of like. So they were the plastic bottles are plastic. Then they come in cases of like 12 wrapped in plastic, and then the pallets of these like 12 packs are wrapped in cellophane, and then forklifts drop them off and leave them outside our forward operating bases to bake in the 120-degree sun all day. And that's what we had to drink.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah.
There was no running water, unless you wanted to drink out of the Euphrates.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
probably done some damage to you.
That's why he is the way he is.
Dude. I mean, this water would be so hot, you had to bring it out of the sun and wait hours for it to cool down.
Yeah.
Like, it was nearly boiling. Like, that's how hot this shit was. Do you ever leave like a thermometer in the sun and it gets up, on the hottest day, and it gets up to like 130?
Yeah.
Now just put your water, a pallet of water that each bottle is its own prism that then the sun goes through that and through the next one and through the next one and through so it's just like a superconductor of water and plastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's happened in the desert for me while I've been hiking, where you open your water bottle and you drink it and it's hot and you're like, oh, I didn't expect that.
And it doesn't
like,
taste
you're actually
like
hot.
fresh water.
You're from the hot water tap almost.
Yeah. Or like a water cache that's been sitting out for
Are we better off drinking like cow tank water than drinking our plastic bottles of water?
But here's my question.
Probably.
Can we win?
Maybe.
Can we win?
Maybe.
What's
can
that?
we win? Is there a way to win?
I mean,
this?
that's the other side of it. Is like, how much can we control, and how much of what we can control is actually worth a damn?
Yeah, I think we've fucked up our environment to an extent where perfection is not even an attainable goal. You're just trying to minimize the damage that you can do.
Yeah.
I just feel like every single thing has something I need to worry about.
Yeah.
Where it's, like, pick my battles here.
I mean, stress and anxiety is its own killer too. And if you're stressing and having anxiety over doing your best to mitigate constantly every little thing that you fucking put in your body, like, where's the joy?
I actually have a question that is a
hit me with it.
There, but I want to end because I think it's also in line with what we're talking about here. Another food item that's always in my pack, especially the last handful of years, is electrolyte packets. It doesn't even matter if it's
hashtag element.
Hashtag snort them if you got them.
But yeah, I think it's very important to get electrolytes in your system, whether that's through supplements or food or just doing an electrolyte packet like this. But two, for me, it just encourages me to drink much more water than I would otherwise. Like, I get bored of drinking water, and to have the water taste good is a really nice incentive. And I genuinely notice a difference on like days where I'm sweating a lot. If I've had a couple of electrolyte packets throughout the day, my energy is way better than it would be if I'm just drinking water.
That
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I said this on the Foothills Trail episode, but if you're new here, that was something that blew my mind on the Foothills Trail because I didn't drink electrolytes. I had Mio, but I didn't drink electrolytes on prior trails because I tried other brands, and I think because I just thought you pour the whole packet in, it was just too much and too strong, and I was like, this stuff's gross. But having Element on as a sponsor, I started drinking it and realizing, okay, if I use a fifth of a packet in day-to-day life, that's good for a full water bottle. The thing that blew my mind on the Foothills Trail was I was pouring the amount that I would usually pour in off trail into my water bottle, drinking it, and I couldn't taste anything. And I'd be like, that's super strange. And I'd end up pouring in like what would be disgusting amounts at home into the bottle just to make it taste the same. And it was mind blowing of, damn, dude, I need it that much that I just can't taste it because of how hard I've been working out all day, every day.
Is Tom breaking his sobriety right now?
I think so. Do it. Do it.
No,
Do it.
I'm just smelling it. Go on, Keith. I don't know, trying to interrupt at all.
Huh?
Spirit of the Cascades.
Yeah, I think that's a testament that your body was craving, whether it's the salt or potassium, magnesium, whatever.
But that means it works, right?
I just know I feel better when I'm ingesting.
I do not
electrolytes.
get tired of drinking water, ever. Like, I know people that, like, hate drinking water, and they will only drink flavored water with, like, Crystal Light and shit like that. Or lemon packets, whatever the hell it is. Those little, like, what are they, like, Simply Lemons or Pure Lemon or whatever the hell
I don't know
that
what they're
little
called,
packet
but yeah,
is.
I know what you're talking about. Crystal Light.
Well, there's the caffeine ones people call Crystal Crack, and they drink the shit out of those. I'm actually to the point where, like, I don't like putting flavor in my water, and you know, I'll get the Mio vitamins or the Mio Energy,
Don't
and
you
like
drink Mio straight?
I just put it in my mouth. Yeah, and then I'll swig back a little bit of water. But I want that water to be available as water as much as possible.
I do. If I'm going on something that I have more than one clean water bottle, I have my water bottle and my flavored water bottle.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't want flavor. You just want...
Well, yeah, or if you want to, like, if you have to make choices of, like, okay, this is my water for drinking, but also I need to save some for,
like brushing your teeth. Or
yeah.
cooking
And I have been in this situation before where I was left with no other choice to have to make my dinner with Gatorade packet water.
I did that once on accident. Because the electrolyte that I was using didn't have any color.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you just poured it in your pot?
I had one electrolyte and one water, and I got them mixed up. So I had like ramen with, like, I don't know,
Did
lime
you eat
flavored.
it?
I ate it. It was terrible. It was really bad.
I had
purple
Gatorade with chili mac and beef Mountain House.
If you were to use a lime flavor, flavor in a pad thai might actually be pretty fucking good.
Sure.
I would just say don't do that.
Yeah.
I would try that. But I have actually had to be a lot more conscious about having clean water with no flavor going to bed at night because of hiking with Harper. Because if I need to give Harper water at night or if I need to give Harper water in the morning, like, I'm not feeding her electrolytes. That would, I think, be bad. I would assume be bad. I don't know.
Maybe the high sodium for sure, but I think the rest of it is not bad because it's stuff that used to exist in our water sources.
I'm not sure.
Where do we stand on, like, where do you guys stand as far as you believe? Like, I'm holding an LMNT packet here. Element.
Yep.
That blew my mind the first time I put it together.
Right, Element D. It's like a tea. They should make tea that's Element T.
Yeah.
I think I was making a video, like, unboxing it for us when we had them on, and I said, this is an Element T, and I looked at it, and I was like, whoa, and then I restarted the camera.
So this particular one is no sugar. Are they all no sugar?
Yeah.
They don't make any with sugar?
No.
Interesting.
So it originally started, the founder of it is Rob Wolf, and he's huge in, like, the paleo community.
Sure.
So he's low carb in general for that reason.
Gotcha. So obviously stuff like that is, you know, the marketing for this particular electrolyte has taken off leaps and bounds over the last 3-4 years. Liquid IV.
Yep.
That has sugar in it, and
a little bit, but not much.
I mean, there is sugar in it. I'm not saying it's like a fucking Coca-Cola or anything like that, but where do you guys stand on sugar being in them?
Yep, for like I think Tailwind makes one that's pretty high calories, and for a backpacking context, I have no issue with that whatsoever. It's your day to day when you're sitting at a desk for 8 hours.
No
per
doubt.
day. It's nice to get some flavor water, some electrolytes, a little bit of sodium. If you're not active enough to actually work off the sugar, then I'd rather have that.
As someone who eats an exclusive candy diet on trail, I don't think I'm particularly sugar conscious, but Liquid IV was the one that I had tried on the PCT where I just dumped the whole fucking packet in.
I like the
I didn't know
flavor
what to
of
expect.
lemon lime liquid IV.
So it
I
was
do.
too much for me. I put
Really?
the whole thing in at once, and I didn't expect it to taste as strong as it
In
did.
a 1 liter bottle, and it was too much for you?
It was
1
like
liter?
all I tasted, and
Really?
so I hadn't tried Electrolytes again until Element sponsored the podcast, and then I was like, maybe I should try this, but less. So I might like Liquid IV if I tried it in smaller quantities, but having the access I have.
Do you guys mind if I resupply
Hashtag
out of this?
grateful.
Take as many as you
That's
want.
for guests, yeah.
By the way, try the lime specifically. I think that's my favorite right now.
Okay.
I go between the lime and the grapefruit.
Oh, the
I
raspberry
actually
is
do
really good,
remember
too.
enjoying the watermelon salt as well.
Yeah.
The watermelon was my favorite when we started doing this. Remember I praised that?
Yeah.
Raspberry, now current fave.
Okay.
I have not tried all their flavors. I've used it very sparingly just because if you are buying it at retail prices, it can be a little pricey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're both very spoiled with
Yeah.
our access. I
No
threw a little fit the other day because I went to opening day with my friends, not to the actual baseball game because baseball sucks, but I went to the Vibe.
Only if you're a Cubs fan.
I just,
We're the
it's
best.
like NASCAR on foot. They're running in circles forever. But I was upset because Garrett was dropping me off at this bar my friends were at, and we got like 3 blocks up, and I realized I forgot I was going to bring the lime elements because I
Yeah.
just wanted to order tequila waters and put element in it.
Yeah.
And I forgot them, and I was so bummed. I was like,
think I've
damn,
seen
that was going to be
people
my
do that
drink of
before.
choice. I've done it camping.
Yeah.
They're like backcountry margaritas. They're
Yeah, yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
This was not intended to be an ad for Element.
But here we go.
Any electrolyte supplement is good, and actually, Element has an article on their website about how to make your own because it is a little bit on the pricier side. So definitely check that out. But if you do want some elements, use our code. It's drinkelement.lmnt.com/trek.
If you're new to it, don't put the whole packet in at once. Just do a little.
I'm a big guy. I
little
take
bit.
the whole packet.
I do.
Straight.
One of those packets will last me like 3 days off trail.
That's insane.
Yeah.
No.
Like 4 bottles.
I'll drink like 3 of these a day.
No.
When I did the Hayduke, I remember specifically like I would budget like the liquid IVs when I bought them in bulk for the Hayduke. I think I was drinking 3 to 4 of these 3 to 4 of the liquid IVs a day.
Well, you're on trail. When I
Yeah.
was on trail, I was
Sure.
drinking more of them. I'm
Yeah,
talking day to day.
Oh, okay.
Like in
I
this,
hear
I've
you,
got
I
like
hear
a fifth of that.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay, so you were talking just a second ago about like trying to balance stressing about everything that is potentially bad in your life versus just living your life, and
Yeah.
I think this is a perfect question for that subject. Is apparently norovirus is super bad on the AT this year. Bad most years.
It's bad every year.
Yeah, but
I've had it.
I'm guessing that this year is going to go down as one of the strongest years for norovirus.
Why?
Just based on the reports that I'm getting, like there's
Okay.
news stories about it.
Okay.
It's all over Reddit. I don't spend much time on the Facebook
I mean,
groups, but
literally, the trailheads down there for the first 300 miles, maybe more, 500 miles, will be the CDC will put up posters at trailheads about norovirus.
yeah. Well, so that's the question is. It's obviously a very contagious virus, and the way to avoid getting it is to just avoid the surfaces that have it. So the recommendations that they're giving is like skip trail magic, skip going into shelters at all.
Yep.
Obviously, bringing soap is superior to using hand sanitizer because it
Well,
actually
yeah,
will
'cause it's-
rub
yeah,
the virus
right.
off of your hands. That's how you get it, is transporting it from the surface to your hands into your mouth or eyes or whatever.
Do you know how it starts?
From poop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody takes the shit, then goes and eats their dinner, and then they transmit that virus onto wherever they're sitting or touching, and then it just becomes a zombie like outbreak situation. Only zombie of the puking and shitting variety, and not the eating other people variety.
And the zombies are dropping like flies apparently this year in the AT. So that's the question. Is it worth obsessing over carrying soap with you, avoiding shelters, avoiding trail magic? Or how would you approach it?
I've definitely had it before. I definitely got it on the AT, my first through hike. I remember like I got it in Irwin, Tennessee, where it was a big influx of hikers at Uncle Johnny's.
There's an outbreak there on my year too.
There always is. There literally is always
place.
is.
Yeah.
It's just you get them all together, and that's the zombie virus, baby. That's just how that works.
There's some local in Irwin, Tennessee, just shitting on stuff.
There's basically at a certain point. There's basically if you're near it, if you're like you don't know it, So the obsessing part, it depends on like the veracity of which you can tolerate something of that nature, the violent shitting and puking. I I'm trying to. I puked, and I think I had like one bad shit in a 24-hour period, but like it was puking for me that I was just like involuntarily just like come blah. So, but it is a 24-hour virus, so it doesn't like. It floors you for 24 hours, and then you're literally like back to normal within like a day or two after that. So the whole obsessing over it.
Just a quick fact check here. Norovirus causes an acute illness that commonly lasts for 1 to 2 days, can last up to 6 days. So
That's uncommon, I would say, the 6-day part.
Yeah, I'm just saying that would fucking
I think
suck
mine
to
was like
have
two to 3 days before I felt good.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds right. So everyone who I've ever known to have it, it's been 24 hours, and then within a day or two after that, they're basically good to go.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on like your relationship with like how you handle those symptoms.
Yeah.
If that's something that like is the worst experience for you ever known to man, then sure, obsess over it if you want. I would say if you can outrun it, then good for you. But if you do get it, it's literally not the end of the world. Yes, you feel sick. It's not. You do not feel good. But I think I've been sicker before.
I've my thought is, and I had norovirus on the AT asterisks because there was an outbreak around us in Maine, like Monson area. Shaw's did a whole clean down. And I made it to Katahdin, summited Katahdin, got off Katahdin, had a fire lobster roll. And then
that fired out your butt too.
As I got home the day later, got norovirus. And
so you got norovirus after you finished the AT?
Like the day I finished. I got it at that Millinocket hostel,
Yeah.
I think. And
the one right downtown?
So thank God I got it when I was off trail. But it was, and I've told this story on the podcast before, but it was to the point that I couldn't take my flight back to Denver. I called the airline and they were like, there's these like charges to change your flight. There's a change flight fee. And I had to puke so bad I didn't have time to mute the phone, and I just started vomiting.
Did
and
they
like
change
the woman was silent. She's like, "We'll waive the fees." and that was like my biggest claim to fame. I was like, "Thank you."
That's actually
in tears.
incredible. I love that.
But at the end of the day, again, I felt the symptoms bad for a day, and then it took a day or two for me to feel like good again. I would just budget more so than being careful and avoiding shit and like living a life of fear on the trail. I would maybe add a buffer to my emergency fund where I can afford to, like you're on the AT, you can get off at any road and get to a town. Include part of your budget to have a nice motel to yourself stay for 3 days while you feel better. I would rather do that.
You will want to be in a motel.
I'd rather do that than worry.
Yeah.
You know, like let me get it if I get it. If that's how it's going to be, I'd rather not avoid shit for hundreds of miles, miss out on fun, and then get it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather just be like, well, if I get it, I've got this $200-300 tucked aside where I can get it in luxury and be done with it and move on.
I fortunately had somebody like that was staying in the motel room with me who like took care of me, and they didn't get it somehow. I don't know how.
Wild.
Because I was like violently puking.
You sure you had norovirus?
100%, without question.
Yeah. So that would be my strategy. Is I would allow a buffer of allowing days off trail. And I've also gotten sick on trail where I have stayed in my tent for 2-3 days. Cue the mashed potatoes that you keep on the bottom.
Just in the
right
woods?
right outside Belden. Right on that nice hard climb up
yeah.
Belden.
You go down and then up.
Halfway up that climb, I
And you
stayed
were
in
going
my
south,
tent.
right?
I was going north.
Oh yeah, you went north. We went
So
south.
it was
That's
that big climb, and right in the middle of it, I stayed in my tent for like 3 days.
I think going south, that climb is harder than going north. Personally, that's my take. I've done both.
I mean, it was right after I flipped, so I was just living in a world of depression at the time, like sadness and despair. And I think that made me not feel good too. But there's nothing wrong with zeroing in your tent and just not going outside except to pee for a day or two.
What's that name of that town just south of Belden that we, like, that was right before you got,
Grego.
Where we got a motel together, but I stayed back and watched football.
Yeah.
What's that town?
Shit.
I can't remember. It's a nothing. It's like a blip. We're off track. Don't worry about it. Just continue on.
Okay. I think I side with you guys on this. I would be probably a little bit cautious. Like, I think I would carry soap, even though I typically don't. I'm usually a hand sanitizer guy.
What kind of soap?
I wonder if Bronner's works. I should look into this more.
I do typically carry like a very small bottle of Bronner's just to like clean chafing if I get it, or just to like wash my beard if it's like getting gross, or you know.
Yeah.
I would also say a nice thing that you could do in a mitigation way that doesn't really affect you much
Let me look it up
is
about Bronner's.
if you're going to fill your water at a water source, go upstream a bit.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
like people are sticking their hands in the water right where you cross it.
Yeah.
And I think that's how a lot of people have gotten it is the water sources.
Yeah.
So if you're really worried, just if you go to a water source, go upstream a little bit past where you think someone's going to go and use the good water.
Yeah. But yeah, the recommendations to avoid it are like avoid shelters, avoid the picnic tables, avoid trail magic. It's like you're skipping out on a lot of stuff, but
Just get it.
yeah.
I'm looking up if well, you can keep going. I'm trying to look
Yeah.
up if Bronner's is
I'm going to jump the line a little bit here because you put a call out on your personal Instagram for
Yep.
some stories. I wanted to do a little bit Viking-centric questions here. Chauncey and I could probably sit this out for a little bit. Which one do we want to start with?
I'm interested in the Vargo, the veteran Vargo Viking trilogy because
sure.
I haven't heard that, so I don't think he's told it on this.
Okay.
Dr. Bronner's is not antibacterial in any way. As you were, sorry, what was the question?
Yeah.
Tell me
About
about your
Vargo?
life.
Tell me about my life?
Yeah. How do you
What about
your
it?
V's?
My V's?
Walk me through your V's.
Well, I mean, it's very simple, very self-explanatory. I was a United States Marine, and I was a veteran.
Yeah.
And then when I got out of the Marine Corps, I was going to school at Bucknell, back in my hometown, Bucknell University.
Garrett's brother went to Bucknell.
Oh, no shit.
Also went to
Interesting.
the Marine. I don't know if he's in the Marines. He's in something.
Coast
He's in
Guard.
something military.
Just kidding.
I'm gonna have to look into this because my
The
knowledge,
Bronners?
my knowledge of soap
We're back
has
on
less
soap.
to do with it being antibacterial and more about like the
Just-
soap itself actually rubs
Because of the
bacteria off
Because of
Doesn't
the
kill
oil
it.
nature of it, or
yeah,
what?
I think it binds to it. I remember.
Interesting.
I don't know. I don't know, but I suspect that it might still work. Anyways,
Okay, well,
Continue,
now I'm
continue.
checking to see if it can be used to wash norovirus.
yeah.
How to avoid that's on the trek. I literally googled can Dr. Bronner's be used to wash norovirus, and the third link is how to avoid norovirus in the Appalachian Trail. This is a longer lookup than
Yeah.
just on surface. Okay, so do I want to go back to the answering the VVV?
Yeah. Just so they could tell us a little story.
Viking for Vendetta. Yeah, I mean, it's self-explanatory. I was a veteran, then I worked at Vargo Titanium for about a year, and that's how I found the Appalachian Trail Days.
Not the trail, the days.
Trail Days is my first experience with the Appalachian Trail. I should say, not my first knowledge of the Appalachian Trail, my first experience being a part of the community of the AT and Trail Days was Damascus, Virginia in 2012. And I was running a vendor booth with the owner, Brian Vargo. Basically where you got the trek sets up, that's where I was set up the very first time. Actually, right by that jungle gym. You know that jungle gym?
Yeah.
I actually set up my hammock and would sleep in the jungle gym right there. I actually got woken up by children the following morning. I was hungover as shit. This kid, I just woke up to this kid, screaming around me at 9 a.m. And I'm like, oh, dear God.
Yeah.
And
Better than you waking up children.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay. I suppose legally speaking, sure. So that was I fell in love with the idea of the AT during that weekend in 2012. I think it was May 13th or something that weekend. And I remember driving home from AT Trail Days, and I did not live with my parents when I got out of the Marine Corps when I was going to Bucknell, but I lived very near, it's a small town, so I lived near enough to them that I would see them quite a bit. And your dad and your mom are still your dad and your mom. So when I decided on that drive back that I was gonna drop out of school after 2.5 years at Bucknell, I was gonna drop out of school and go get ready to hike the AT the following year. My dad was like, great. He's like, that's awesome, because his father was a big supporter of the AT. In fact, all his vehicles my whole life, my grandfather's vehicles my whole life, all had AT supporter stickers on them. And I don't think he ever thru hiked the AT personally, but he was an Eagle Scout. He was a Navy veteran. He had done a lot of crazy adventuring trips in his life in the White Mountains, and just he loved the AT in general. And while I had heard and known about it my whole life, I did not know people actually fucking walked from Georgia to Maine every year, let alone there being thousands of people, let alone there being a community of people, and this whole subculture of it, And I got a a blast of it that weekend, and that's my life is forever changed because I worked at Vargo, and I went from veteran to Vargo to Viking. You know, at the end of the AT, not after the AT, after my first thru hike on the AT, because I thru hiked the AT with just my trail name as Jabba, and that's still my trail name. But you know, it was after the AT that my oldest sister Laura, she's like, Tom, why don't you like start a blog or like an Instagram? And I was like, it's like, no. I was like, I just want to go have a good time. Like, I'm not trying to like do anything crazy with this. But then I got to thinking, and after she was like, but what if you could get paid? And I'm like, I'm like, money? I like money. I'd like more of it, you know? And, you know, obviously it hasn't been getting me rich or anything like that. But you know, after, you know, sitting there with my sister Laura that fall after my AT thru hike in 2013, she's like, well, what would you want to call it? And I was just like, well, I've been growing this beard out. You know, kind of looks like a Viking beard, sort of. I was like, and Viking rhymes with hiking. And I was like, and in the Marine Corps, we were warriors, and that's what a Viking kind of is like a crazy bearded warrior. And that's just like kind of like, I just decided there that, you know, that's a catchy screen name. That's what I was creating, a screen name. I wasn't creating a brand. I just was like, this is my screen name, The Real Hiking Viking, because somebody had already taken the website for the blog that I was starting. Somebody had already taken hikingviking.com or thehikingviking.com. Those were all already taken. And I was like, it was like a website, a blog, a defunct blog that somebody hadn't posted in like a decade. And I was like, well, this person's clearly not a real hiking Viking. Yeah. I was like, I'll just be the real hiking Viking. Yeah. That's the impetus of the words "the real" along with my. You guys both okay? You guys coughing up?
Sick. Yeah. I'm noticed when we started this podcast that my Sudafed wore off. So
I've been a little phlegmy since the COVID.
Yeah. Great. I'm going to fucking die. I'm going to a wedding this weekend.
Well,
and I'm going to get there and be sick as fuck.
Yeah.
You're going to get it from the wedding. Every time I've gotten it, it's been like from a wedding.
God damn it.
Okay. So I want to thank you for sharing that. I knew the story, but I was acting entertained.
Sure. Thanks, man.
It was all a ruse.
No,
Same.
It's a good story.
I didn't know it, but I was still pretending.
Is my story of how I gave myself the title The Real Hiking Viking better or worse than Zach naming himself Badger? The Good Badger, excuse me.
Chance gave herself her trail name, too.
You piece of shit!
Well, technically, my parents did.
Well.
Just Chance, but that's your name.
Yeah.
That's your name.
Yeah.
That's your mascot, Zach.
Yeah.
At least I looked like what I...
By the way, that's a reference to Jabba, not Viking.
Yeah, right. Good point.
Okay. There's a lot of questions in here, but there's one I definitely want to start with.
Are you able to unhitch your jaw?
That was not the one, but that's a good question, too. Blake.Philippek asks, how many times do you poo a day while hiking or backpacking, and who's cooler, Zach or Chance?
Well, first of all, Zach, you have a very intimate knowledge of my poops while on trail. I mean,
yes.
So I have an overactive pooper. That's medical. That's a medical term. I go through bouts of like being a normal pooper to being a non-normal pooper. If I like did a true elimination diet, I'm sure I could find out what are some of my like.
Didn't you cut out dairy for a period of time and your poops were great? I know too much about you.
Yeah. They did get better, but at the same time I also like cut out a bunch. I was on like a bunch of supplements that were like, I think adding to the. Just there's almost no way of knowing the exact culprit of what it is. Yeah. And then if you factor in like caffeine is a big time like propulsion of like a literal jet fuel to the pooper. But I don't have a negative relationship with my poop. I like
big
pooping.
Fan.
I'm a big fan of pooping.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean I would say so let's put it this way, like there are a lot of days where I'll drop a third deuce before noon.
Wow.
I mean, that's not uncommon.
And not an embellishment at all.
I mean, maybe more. Yeah. Definitely have had more than 3 before noon.
Yeah.
I'd say 3 is like a good brown number. Good browned number.
Yeah. And who's cooler between Chance and I?
No comment. They both suck ass. No, I mean,
apparently we're not the ones.
Let's put it this way: Chance and I have had some unique moments together, namely when I broke her face.
Yeah.
But Zach, obviously, you and I have spent some significant miles together, and our friendship is now going on a decade.
So maybe.
Yeah.
I guess
happy anniversary, bro.
January of 2015 was when we met.
Yeah.
I know that because that was the first OR. Was it the first OR I went to?
That was my first OR.
Yep, same.
When I was back in Salt Lake City.
Yeah. That was my first OR. That was your first OR, and that was.
Yeah, he's asking who's cooler. He's not asking.
Well, I have a.
He's saying me.
We've hung out a lot more than you and I have.
I get it.
You're not cool, Chance.
Just say it then. Just say it.
You're both okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Zach's a little cooler.
What the fuck?
This is from every user is taken besides this one.
What?
Yeah, every user is taken besides this one. Asks, how do you maintain muscle mass on the trail, especially after doing so many through hikes? I think this is a question you get a lot, right?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean,
you don't look like a hiker.
I am proud of that.
Yeah.
Personally, and by the way, neither do you.
No.
You know, like nobody would be like, "That's a thru hiker." It'll be the stereotypical. If you picture a thru hiker in your head, what do you picture, Chance? When you picture a male thru hiker,
malnourished, gangly man.
Yep, same
With a beard.
Yeah.
Zach?
Yeah. I mean, he's
a friend of the podcast, obviously.
He's always skinny.
He's very skinny. He's an ultra runner on top of that by nature. He's just wants to be skinnier. I do not. I mean, when I was in the Marine Corps, I was like 245 pounds of lifting all day long between missions, and our whole sniper platoon was just okay, if you're we just wanted to see who would be the strongest motherfucker around. That's still built into me. So anytime the off season hits, I want to lift weights and gain whatever muscle mass back that I end up losing, which at this point in time, I don't lose a lot of muscle mass anymore when I'm out there. My first CDT through hike, I lost 70 pounds. I went from 240 to 170. Jesus. And I still had my general muscle mass of my my arms, my shoulders, and my chest, but the rest of me was just
How much would someone have to pay you to get gangly? To intentionally
pay me?
Yeah, to intentionally.
Well, how are we going about it? Is the
go.
question. How are we going? What's the rub? How am I getting there? So that would dictate how much money I think it would be worth it to me.
What would you have to do?
I mean, were we talking about starving me, or are we talking about me? I can work. I mean, it would have to be significant diet. That's, which is, by the way, part of the reason why I've decided to go boozeless, alcoholless.
To get gangly?
Not to get gangly, but to not carry weight so easly. I mean, beer guts are a thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've all had a gut of some sort at some points in our lives. I don't mean specifically. I'm talking to the. I'm talking to the listeners. Yeah. I mean, by and large, a lot of people can. After you. Okay. Fuck. When you're in college, you gain the freshman 15, right? You just get heavier as your life goes on. You carry weight differently, and for me personally, I carry it around my midsection.
I always carry weight in my midsection.
And so
it's
maybe
wherever it goes.
Maybe part of my reason for wanting to remain large and in charge up top is to balance out my beer gut. If my shoulders and chest are huge, then maybe you won't be staring at my fat
stomach. You're actually just wildly self-conscious.
Quit staring at my fat. No. I mean, there's probably some
eyes up here.
Yeah, right. Quit looking at into my deep belly button. Dark hair hole.
All right, Chauncey, get to pick the next one.
Oh boy.
Oh, wait, by the way, I don't know if the question was completely answered. So I put in a lot of time in the off season to remaining strong, large and strong.
Yeah.
And so that when the next off season comes around, it's not as much effort to get to where I like to be.
I think just genetically you're big too, because you end a through hike with still gigantic arms, which most people don't.
Yeah.
Hiker_midnight wants to know, what was your first tattoo? Where did you get it, and why? Tell us the story behind it.
Shout out to Mary, from former employee at Gaia, who put me up for nearly it might have been exactly 2 weeks when I had crippling, what's it called? when you
Giardia?
what? No, not Giardia. I'm have tendinitis. I had like crippling tendinitis when I was in Montana, and she lives in Helena, and she wasn't even home, and like gave me like their spare key to their house and let me use their car to go to like rehab and shit like that when I was in Helena, Montana. So shout out to Mary. My first tattoo was on my left shoulder. It was the Tree of Life. It was during my first year in the Marine Corps. I was 23 years old. Me and my buddies. So before you actually join the Fleet Marine Force after boot camp, you go to you do 13 weeks in Parris Island if you're on the East Coast, and so after that you go to your MOS school, which is your Marine Occupational Specialty School, aka if you're a grunt, if you're an infantryman, you go to the School of Infantry, which I was the honor graduate, no big fucking deal. And that's at Camp Geiger in Jacksonville, North Carolina, and that's about an hour north of where Wilmington, North Carolina is. So where UNC Wilmington is, if people can't think and they want to know by what universities are around. And so me and my buddy got, I guess we took like I don't remember how we got down there. Did we take a bus? But we went down there for the weekend, got like hotels and shit like that, and in fact, it was directly next to a Hooters. So like we showed up at a Hooters at like 10 or 11 a.m. in Wilmington and like drank like several pitchers of beer, and then across the parking lot was a tattoo parlor that we went and got our very first tattoos. And I always thought the Tree of Life was cool. There's Scottish and Irish on my mom's side, and I've always just enjoyed the art of like Celtic artwork, and so the Tree of Life was always really cool. And I got that, and now it's part of a bigger tattoo that I've gotten around it with a Celtic cross and some other things. So that was 2000, like I said, 2006. That would have been when I got that. My body was naked before that.
How many tattoos do you have now?
I consider this one in the form to be one.
Yeah.
And then I have a armband, a Celtic armband right here. I have words on the inside of each arm, so I got them at the same time, but we'll call those two. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tattoos.
Do you think of adding to it?
Yeah, I definitely want to. I think I want to make this a full sleeve up from the forearm sleeve that I have. So I think that'll happen at some point, and then I'm gonna go full skull. I'm gonna get a skull tattoo.
Yeah, duh.
Yeah.
On your bald head.
Yeah.
Nice. Very Voldemort.
Yeah. No, my only plan is at this juncture is to do finish this sleeve on this side and have it be like a shoulder cap. Who knows? Maybe I'll get to the chest at some point. That's probably the next spot, but we'll see.
My brain is now computing the fact that if you get more tattoos and connect your tattoos, you then have less tattoos.
Right. You just connect them and it is what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
If it sticks together, that's one nacho.
Right.
Yeah.
So 2 becomes 1.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. Elaine Hikes asks, what's your favorite hiking trail you've ever done?
That's fucking favorites, man. That's hard. I mean, to me, I always say that like I fell in love with backpacking on the AT, and the AT will always be your first love is always your first love, right? But like the CDT, if that was the trail that I fell in love with hiking on, the CDT was the trail I fell in love with wilderness on, and that experience was so, I feel like I grew so much on the CDT just within this lifestyle that I can. Your first time on any trail is really special, and I'm to the point where I'm like starting to repeat them, and I eventually within the next couple 2 or 3 years I'd like to be a triple crowner next 3 years or so. We'll see, but like the first time hiking the CDT was a really special time for me, and I would say that's continually my favorite trail, but there are also other trails that like speak to me in different ways. That tagging something as a favorite it's like it doesn't work that way when it comes to trails. To me.
Let's ask it a different way. So removing your prior experience with these trails, if you could go back and only just do one trail
forever,
and not like relive, like the same trail over and over, or maybe let's just say you had one 5-month stretch, you could only do one trail. What are you taking? I'll let you meditate on that. 'Cause I have to pee.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, they're that's tough, man. I mean, I think if I could go back and hike one trail just continuously, I'd probably choose the AT.
Yeah.
I just I'm from the East Coast, and those are the woods I grew up in, and those are the streams I grew up playing in, and those are the rocks I grew up jumping on, and those are the denseness of those woods. I was just thinking about this the other day, in fact, like as much, and I'm going to go down to the desert here in a couple weeks and be in the New Mexican desert for about a month or so. Like coming from a place on the East Coast where like the deserts are just such a foreign land to an East Coaster from central Pennsylvania, where I'm surrounded by like farmlands as far as the eye could see, and Amish people and stuff like that. So that the deserts of the American Southwest are so unique, and they're so beautiful in such a totally different way. Like I said, foreign land is what it feels like, but it doesn't feel like home the way it does. Like when you're growing up and playing in those woods, those are like your foundations of your brain forming, or like it's like within those woods. The woods are a magical place in a totally different way than the vastness of the open deserts. Now, if I was like born and raised in New Mexico or Arizona, maybe I would think totally. I would think totally different about it. But I was born in the dense woods of Pennsylvania, and hemlocks and moss and chestnut trees and willows. And so there's a term for the types of streams that exist in Pennsylvania. They're called runs. You ever heard that term for a stream? Runs.
No.
Bull run.
Yeah. Where'd you get that? Bull run.
That's Virginia.
Huh. Interesting. They're literally like 2 blocks from the house I grew up in. And there's a bull run. How dare you? But like the runs of PA are just these unbelievably beautiful streams that are like cascading through dense forests, and it's beautiful. And you don't get that vibe anywhere else in the country than the deep woods of like the East Coast and namely the Northeast.
Yeah, I do agree with that. It does feel
I
very
said the
homey.
AT while you were gone, Zach, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Sorry, go ahead, Chauncey.
No, I was just agreeing. It feels very homey.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I could spend more time on that trail because it doesn't feel like I'm doing something different. Whereas going out and hiking in the desert, like I feel like I'm out there more because it's less familiar.
This just occurred to me in my brain. Like the Appalachian Mountains back east, and especially in Pennsylvania, in my opinion, it feels like the Shire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Farmland, deep woods, rivers and streams that are like tame, whereas like obviously like the vast wilderness of Montana and Idaho and Wyoming is just like, that's like the Misty Mountains and shit like that. Like it's a faraway land for the hobbits. You know what I mean? I'm a fucking hobbit is what I'm trying to say.
You're more of like a Gimli, I'd say.
I mean, I am a Gimli, but from Hobbitland.
How do you pack your pack? I just got a Zurich, my first frameless, and I'm curious how you pack yours.
Thank you for buying a pack that directly benefits my ability to go and adventure every year. I appreciate that. Mount Smith and I have a great relationship, and they're literally like 2 blocks away from here, basically. And we just launched the new updated Zurich, and Zurich 25, Zurich 40, Zurich 25, and the Zurich Fanny. So go to Mount Smith's webpage. It's in my Instagram bio. When first of all, I use a contractor bag as my pack liner. A few years ago, I bought like a case of 42 contractor bags, and I'm still using them. I try and use that one contractor bag as long as possible. They're durable. But so I put my sleeping bag and my air pad at the bottom. And if my tent's dry, I'll also throw that in the bottom. And then I'll put my clothing bag on top of that. And then I will put my food bag on top of that, essentially. And I keep my food, it's a 40-liter pack, so you don't have a ton of crap in there. Pardon me. These polar seltzers are
Really getting you.
really getting me. Ugh, sorry. All right, so yeah, for a 40-liter pack, you can't overpack too much with that. So, and if you are, maybe you want to size up a little bit until you dial things in. And that's what the Zerk 40 is like for somebody who has it dialed a little bit more in terms of through hiking. That is, it can still be a good overnight pack and a good day pack and a good summit bag, depending on what you like carrying. But I tend to, my base weight's typically around 10, 11 pounds, depending. And your food bag ends up being the thing that like will restrict how well you can close your bag, on any given day of the stretch that you're on. Like if you got a 5 or 6 day haul, 40 liters is a small pack. In fact, when I designed the pack with trying to set the brake and set a new FKT on the Colorado Trail in mind, I was unable to do so. But I carried, unsupported, carried 10 days of food trying to accomplish a 9.5 day FKT. I think it was either 9 or 9.5 days. And that's a lot of food to be putting in a 40-liter pack. My shit was ultra light, and then you couldn't even roll the pack down even one time. In fact, the top had like the envelope, the opening was not even closed. You could just like, if it rained would have just gone straight in the pack. So that's just standard how I do it. Sleeping system and tent in the bottom. And then clothing on top of that. And if you're carrying a pot, maybe you can put your pot right there next to your clothing bag. Electronics are also within that clothing / pot area, that next level above your sleeping system and tent. And then my food is always on top, so I can access it throughout the day.
Yeah. I've used your pack quite a bit, and I've never had issues with the storage. Granted, I don't think I've ever done like a 6-day food carry with it, but I wonder, because it is a roll top, like you call it 40 liters, but I bet you can very quickly get more than that.
The 40 is like, you can get more than 40 liters in there for sure. The 40 is like up to a certain like level. Yeah. And you make the sleeve taller. And a lot of other backpacking companies do that as well. Like some others will be taller than others. Like the who is it? Not Mountain Laurel. Who's the company in Maine? Hyperlite. Hyperlites typically have like a taller sleeve than others for having a so you can put more in there just in case. But like it's supposed to only carry a certain amount weight wise, and the recommended maximum poundage for mine is 35, but I've definitely had like 45 in there for longer hauls.
Yeah. That's like the comfortable carrying weight.
35 is max.
Yeah.
I know, especially since you don't have a built-in load-bearing hip belt. Like, you're putting that shit on your shoulders. And fortunately for me, I can handle a lot on my shoulders because I'm a larger guy upstairs.
Yeah. I think we're going to go back to some of these more general questions for a bit.
Was Jabba boring you with his answers?
Yeah, it was way too boring.
Yeah. Same.
I'm a boring piece of shit.
This is one that kind of struck me recently, but if you had to narrow down the thing that you like most about long distance backpacking, like if you had to pick one element of why you love long distance backpacking, what would it be?
I've told this before, probably on this podcast more than one time, is my assumption. I can't recall exactly which episode. Do you know how many episodes I've been on at this point?
Too many.
A lot of them.
Is it more than 15?
No.
Are you sure?
It's probably close to 10.
Double digits for sure.
Oh, it's over 10.
Yeah.
Because there's even ones where like I was a host.
Yeah.
As well.
A lot.
Yeah. Okay. So and that's why I can't remember when I've mentioned what I'm about to mention. But for me, putting aside the whole like it's beautiful, putting aside the whole it's like exercise, putting aside the whole like endorphin, my first thru hike specifically, I never put a set of headphones in my ear ever on my first thru hike. And I recommend people do that as much as possible. And at this point in time, with podcasts being so prevalent and books on tape being
I hate podcasts.
You can help pass the time for sure. But the beauty of going on a long distance thru hike that you can't replicate it in any other faction of society in the same way without doing like extensive meditation, I imagine, which I don't do. But that's what thru hiking is like extensive meditation. You know, you have effectively put yourself in a place where nobody else is, you know, by and large, like you're hiking alone most days. Even if you have friends around you, the actual walking is done probably in your own head, right? You're not constantly talking to other people while you're out there. Even when you and I would hike together, like we weren't talking all the time.
No, and we get separated by like a full day at times.
Yeah. So the beauty of through hiking is you have forced yourself into a situation where you cannot hide from yourself, from your innermost self, from the deepest places of your mind that you can't access when you're going to your work, when you're being with your partner, when you know we're over inundated, like sensory overload in a multitude of ways in our society. You know, there's just content forever. The death scroll is forever. When you're out there walking, your brain is effectively allowed to go to places where it doesn't go anywhere in any other setting. And that is the best thing to get out of a through hike is like essentially finding yourself, finding your actual voice inside there that allows you to know what you actually care about in the world. Like, okay, so it's like, it's a pilgrimage if you allow it to be, you know, and a pilgrimage can be for anything, to anything, about anything. And for me on that first through hike, it was about finding something that I didn't know existed, that I could be passionate about, that I'm now like going to the ends of the earth to continually explore. You know, a through hike can be one and done for somebody, but they might find like a resolution about their life while out there. You know, I mean, for example, like you've done a few through hikes, right? But you know, you have created a company out of the love of backpacking and through hiking. You created a book. You created a website that people write for. You created a podcast that is, you know, in the top 70, 60.
It's number one.
It's
Yeah,
number one.
that's what you mean.
No, you were above. What? This podcast is above whose?
Oh yeah, I sent a screenshot.
Yeah.
Oh,
I forget who.
Garrett was impressed by that too.
There was some popular sports podcast that we were momentarily ahead of.
I have a screenshot
Skip
of it
Bayless.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Skip Bayless.
Yeah,
Fuck you very much.
Undisputed. That was
Yeah,
it.
undisputed. So my point is that, like, had you never gone on your first through hike, where the hell would you be?
Yeah. No, I mean, so I didn't come to the conclusion that I wanted to build the trek. That never really entered my mind. It just
No,
happened.
not on that hike though.
No, but writing was definitely something.
It's a domino from that.
And it was, you mentioned meditation. I was very mindful about meditation on that hike, and that was something that I legitimately meditated to. I made an intentional meditation about, like, what do I want to do with my life, and I was just literally going through a carousel of things, and the idea of writing, specifically a book, came up, and like my entire body like lit up. It was like a Ouija board pulled me to the North Star of doing this thing, and that was the first domino to fall to where we are today.
If you allow yourself, like I keep telling people are like, oh, you know, like, like if you're about to go on a hike, I recommend multiple things. Like, if possible, like being single, if you're on your first through hike, being single, not having a job you're going back to, like, it's something that's just open ended, because it allows for an infinite number of possibilities if you then allow yourself to have the space to find what you could conceivably like have passion for that you wouldn't have been able to find otherwise. And obviously you just alluded to yours, and I mean, shoot, even Juliana, you're writing too, you know, and you wouldn't have found writing in this particular way had you not gotten into backpacking yourself. You know, obviously all this still kind of relates to backpacking because we're, you know, gluttons for it, for the community, for, you know, the idea of it, for the pageantry that is, you know, the AT trail days. And but like, and yeah, maybe someday that I'll pivot out of this world, but it does not feel like it's happening anytime soon. It's a healthy thing for me to have big things that the long form distance adventure really allows myself to like break apart from this overbearing society that we live in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my answer is honestly very similar. I like long distance backpacking because it forces me out of my bad habits. You mentioned the death scroll, and like it's so easy to just be inundated with our screens all the time.
I am.
And yeah, backpacking for me is medicine, it's therapy. You mentioned like putting all the wilderness and stuff like that aside. It's funny when we interview people and they're always able to very easily recite like I was in this state park at this peak 100 miles south of this town, and like I don't have that ability. Like those things go in one ear and out the other for me. Like I can recite a lot of that stuff just because of the repetition of it. But what I love about backpacking is it just clears my mind so much. And for me, when I come home from a backpacking trip, I'm in such a better mood for weeks. I think I'm much more present with everyone around me. I appreciate little things. It just makes life way more rich. And that's, for me, that's the thing that I love about long distance backpacking is I think it puts us more in touch with what our organism is supposed to be and feel.
Yeah, I agree. I have had some of my most emotional days in my life alone out there, like just in an appreciative and grateful state. And just like, there are times when it's just like an overwhelming sense of like euphoria in moments that are, for like, I couldn't even pinpoint why the emotion has washed over me like a wave crashing, but like typically it happens like around the golden hour if it's going to happen in this way. And like, I'm a guy that I'm not like beating my chest this even a little bit. I don't find myself being emotional often. Like not
toxic masculinity.
Well, I don't perceive it as toxic masculine. I know, but that is a thing for people. I don't think I'm overly macho. I do think I have like a softer heart than a lot of people do. But as far as being vulnerable and allowing it to manifest in an emotional moment where you like it explodes out of you, like it just wells in you and then it releases from you. Those I don't get that in my day to day, and there's like something about that being able to be possible, which like while out there, that obviously there's that, like you said, there's medicine out there, and I want to find it.
Yeah.
You guys have gotten very deep, which is going to make mine seem a little surface level. But to make it a little more surface level, I like, and this is what ruined day hiking for me, is I like chipping away at a bigger goal. Mm-hmm. I think it can be one thing to go on a day hike and hike a bunch of miles and see a cool view, but once you see a cool view a certain number of times, you do get a bit jaded to it. And
absolutely.
It's just like, do I want to get in my car and drive 2 fucking hours to Rocky Mountain National Park to see a view, to drive 2 hours back in traffic? Not really, no. Like, that's why I don't day hike as much anymore. It needs to be a long thing that you're out
there for.
Yeah, but when you're going out there and it's, I'm not just hiking to see a view, but this 20 miles is chipping away at this bigger amount of miles.
Yeah, no slight towards the day hikers out there, of course, obviously.
And I don't say it in a slighting way. It's almost an enviable way. I wish I could go back and enjoy it the way I used to. When I first moved to Denver, I was hiking day hikes every day that I could get on a trail. Mm-hmm. Every single day I could get on a trail. And now it's just like, I don't really want to, because it doesn't have that bigger goal to it. And
I'm a bit of the same way, to be honest with you.
But that's why I can see so much appeal to people doing like all the 14ers or the 46ers, whatever it is in New York.
Yeah, 46ers, you got it.
Those things where you're crossing off parts of a larger challenge, it makes it more meaningful to get out there and do it. I think for me, that's a really fun part of it. But if we want to like go down the deep rabbit hole, like, you get off a trail and you feel different. Mm-hmm. Like, even in small ways. Like, you feel strong, you feel capable, you feel like a different version of yourself. Like, there was one, this is the funniest fucking memory I have. I don't know why it sticks, but there was a time where I got back off the AT. I think it was the AT or the PCT. And I just felt like strong and independent, can do everything myself, to the point that I was like going into a public restroom and the toilet paper roll was empty, and I saw the new roll and I changed it. And I was like, look at me. I'm just like doing all this stuff. I'm changing these toilet paper rolls. I can do everything I want. Like
I'm
shit
the toilet paper
shit
queen.
that I would usually just ignore. Like, oh, toilet paper's out. Fuck that. I'm like, I want to take care of everything. I want to take care of everything. We probably won't see you in the YouTube if you're like that. So fix yourself. But no, you come back feeling just better in general, which makes it so sad when you don't go back out there.
So you brought up something that reminded me of, there's people out there that are like AT repeat offenders, and there's people out there that are PCT repeat offenders, and there's people out on the AT that they're like, I'm never gonna hike the PCT, and there's people on the PCT that are never gonna hike the AT. I said that for 2
years. I said fuck the AT. I don't want to do that thing.
Well, you know what I have gathered, I've hiked the PCT 3 consecutive years. One of those was a full through, and 2 of those were over half through hikes. And speaking of getting jaded, the PCT is just like, it's Vista constantly. Mm-hmm. It's just like, it's damn near always like beautiful at all times, and like on the AT, if you had never hiked the PCT and you're like, I'm going to go hike the AT, like, of course you're in the woods a lot, the Green Tunnel, these are things. But like those vistas, when you do get them, they're that much more special per capita than when, if you just stood upon like any part of the PCT, you'd be like, damn, look at this view. If you just like teleported from right here, right now to like somewhere north of Sierra City. Like those buttes right there. Mm-hmm. Like you'd be like, damn, this is gorgeous. But like that's all day on the PCT, so you don't stop and smell the roses like at each one of these potential viewpoints because they're just everywhere. So you're like, oh, it's overwhelming. You're just like, okay, I just need to like do my miles. Like I'm just doing my miles. I'm getting my 25 or my 30 miles per day. But on the AT, when you get to a vista, you like drop your pack. And like you sit down and you fucking make yourself enjoy that view, because you just spent 25 miles to get to it, and by the way, the woods of the Appalachians are their own magical thing.
Yeah.
Like you can't, to compare or to turn your nose up to either or is doing yourself a disservice, a great disservice in my opinion. But like you can get jaded very easily in these more, vista-riddled states like Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, California. I mean, shoot. You even have to fight like through the woods in the Cascades to get to some views. But like California's just like it's everywhere. Yeah. It's constant.
Well, I think that's what made doing the AT after the PCT interesting for me. Is by that point, this is again after day hiking, I felt was spoiled for me. Mm-hmm. It wasn't about the views. I didn't really care about the views. So it no longer became, well, I'm doing this hike because I want to see cool shit. It became, I'm doing this hike because I like want that feeling again. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I've always thought is very interesting about a long hike that a lot of times people don't realize until they get back and you're having that post-trail blues and you're wondering why am I so like sad right now? Is there's rarely times in your adult life where all your friends are free to hang out every day and they don't have anything else to do. And when you're doing a long distance trail, you make these friends, trail families, trail fams, trams, whatever you want to call them. Tramlies, where everyone is available. Yeah. They're free. They're not distracted because they don't have cell reception for a lot of the time, or they're conserving their battery. So their phone's not like glued to their face. You're hanging out, you're talking, you're making up fun little stupid games. Like it's almost like playing outside like when you were a kid before phones, technology, any of that shit, obligations, life, kids, any of that. And it's every day for like 6 months. And you come back off this trail and you didn't really think much of it, but then you get home and all your friends are busy. They've got shit going on. Like they're excited for you, but like they can't really hang out all the time. And you're
shit, my friends are now like through hikers.
Right.
I mean, I still have good friends that are not, but like my friends from back home aren't coming through hiking with me. I'll tell you that.
But I think that's one of the things I didn't realize I would like most about it. That's one of the things that pulled me to do the AT when I thought getting off the PCT, I have no interest in that trail, is to have a experience for that amount of time where you're with people that are undistracted and like you're there to have fun.
Yeah. And having fun, Zach, I said like finding myself, like that is like a very important piece of my through hiking puzzle. But like I would say if there's a 1B and well, there is a 1B, it is the people, like you don't, the views are a dime a dozen in terms of your memories, right? But the things that really stand out in your mind when you recall the adventures are like the people you shared like motels with, the people you like, decided to push a 40-50 mile day with, you went and hit the bar, grabbed some burgers, like what, like do you remember those moments
Sure.
more than you are going to remember, each and every vista in the Sierra?
Yeah, I feel
right?
like they're also just like less surface level connections
Yeah.
because you actually get to know each other.
Having shared suffrage is also very bonding as well. So, and to that point, like, coming from the military where I had a very unique shared suffrage with a lot of brothers, overseas and in the States, having through hiking friends was about the closest thing you could get to replicating that,
Yeah, I think that's a common sentiment for veterans, especially.
Yeah.
It's like to get that camaraderie.
Yeah, that's a very real thing to lose when you get out of the Marine Corps. I guess maybe the only closest thing would be like if you're on a sports team,
Sure.
and I would put that probably above a through hiker bond is being on a competitive, at least for me, personally speaking.
Yeah.
Being in a competitive environment with somebody that is, that Marine environment. And Marine Corps infantry environment is very highly competitive, but very team building, just world.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of individuality when it comes to through hiking, but a sports team collective,
Yeah. Is that a good question to end on? I feel like it might be.
I think so.
Cool. Well, that concludes the Q&A portion of today's episode. Jabba, thank you for being here.
I thought you were going to start clapping. I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yay.
That's why I said yay.
We do have a few segments to do here, as always. The first one I want to do, Trek Propaganda, is this is something that I've wanted on the website for my own selfish reasons for a long time, and I think it exists in other forms, but I'm excited by what we did here. This is a list of all the U.S. long trails, and the top of this page is sort of like a Wikipedia-style table that includes... We tried to do as many long trails that were completed or at least popular. Obviously can't include every trail that exists. As we've learned through this podcast, there's lots of hike ideas out there. Like we recently did the Four Corners Loop, something where somebody's done it one time, didn't qualify. But I think we've got a list of like 30 to 40 trails that includes their distance, location, and the best season to hike them. And then beneath the table includes more context about the trails, including some links to trail overviews, the trail organization's websites, and just additional context.
Did you put this together?
This is something that Kelly did.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But I've been just wanting something where, like, I've got a week. I want something that's about 100 miles in the west, and this would be a fast way to just quickly figure out where to go hike.
That's awesome.
If you guys are interested in that, that'll be linked here in the show notes. And I want to do one other piece by a former and recent guest. This is 5 budget-friendly ultralight backpacking hacks by Moose Juice. Very much enjoyed his episode. I'll just quickly go through a few of his tips. Number 1 is apps. Apps can definitely reduce your pack weight by getting rid of items that were once traditional things. Instead of using AWOL's guidebook, you can use Far Out or the PDF version.
AWOL's guidebook was amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
I actually missed those days.
Still
for
exists.
Not using a phone to
totally.
Yeah, it's just kind of cool.
I agree. There's nostalgia value, but if you're trying to save weight, this is a good way to do it.
Yeah, no doubt.
You can use the Notes app instead of a journal, and instead of bringing a book with you, you can use the Kindle app or listen to an audiobook. But apps are definitely a good tool to reduce your pack weight. The third thing he highlights is to be more efficient. Hikers often carry too many stuff sacks. This was an interesting one that he called out. He said during one of his shakedowns, he removed more than a pound worth of bags, specifically stuff sacks. I remember using too many stuff sacks for everything on the AT. So.
Yeah, dude, like a ridiculous amount.
Like
and also,
everything is in its own bag.
Yeah, like needlessly.
Yeah.
When I was hiking the PCT and got to Mount Laguna where they were doing shakedowns, Like, I walked up the drive to them screaming, stuff sacks. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Because I knew how many stuff sacks I had. And I was like, I'm going to get torn apart for this.
Yeah.
That's where I dropped them all off.
And his last tip, this is a good one for beginners and something that I had to learn myself, but to keep an eagle eye out for trash cans. He found that too many people were carrying too much trash from one town to the other, especially on a trail like the AT. You oftentimes will find trash containers.
We got a
at
plastic
trails.
problem.
Yeah, but you can ditch your trash more frequently on a trail like that. So.
Are you more excited to see trail magic or a trash can in the middle of it?
Trail magic. There's trash cans at Trail Magic.
I guess it depends on the frequency that you're seeing trail magic. So like on the AT, you can get a little bit burnt out on trail magic just because it exists at every road crossing.
I'm never turning it down.
Yeah. On something like the PCT going southbound, the trail magic happened infrequently enough that, yeah, I would definitely go trail magic. It just depends on the specific situation.
I'm just thinking like on the Foothills Trail, there was one trash can that I knew I'd be coming up to. And the joy I was feeling knowing I was coming up to this trash can was equatable to the joy I feel when I see trail magic.
Yeah. Especially when you're shitting in your food bag.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with that. Why would you be shitting in your food bag?
You got to listen to that episode. Actually, not that episode.
Wait,
the episode after.
Wait, is it the same episode as your dog and you when you shit yourself and shit your
No,
pants?
this is a recent one.
This
You
is like
shit
a
in your
confession.
food bag?
No, I shit in a bag that contained food.
A backpacker's pantry
Not my
bag.
food, not my overall food bag. Just a backpacker
She
pantry.
used it, yeah, kind of like a
Wag bag. Okay.
Yeah.
You did that. Where were you? Out of curiosity.
In the middle of my tent at night. I didn't
She
want
just
to get
pouring
out.
rain outside.
No, it was just I was camping by myself. It was a
Shut
little spooky.
the fuck up.
I was warm.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No.
You pooped in your tent.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Listen, Johns, that's the grossest thing I've ever heard.
It's not.
I have done a lot of gross things in my
You cannot
life.
tell me that's grosser than things you've done.
Name me something that you know that I've done that is grosser than shitting in your own tent.
The thing that we edited
Yeah,
out.
the thing that we edited out.
How is that grosser?
You don't want your mom to know about it.
I mean, it's not like I'm eating poop. Cut this out.
And that brings us to our Kumo question.
Yeah.
You better cut these out, by the way.
Yeah.
I will fucking kill you.
Should we do the Kuma question?
Like, we have to, right?
Yeah. No, but we will.
We don't have to?
I mean,
What's the
let's
Kuma
do it.
question?
Okay. You know this.
So you did this on a previous episode.
I did?
Yeah. We've got questions in our Gosmagir Kuma.
I don't know if I have. I don't think this
did.
is not.
You don't remember me telling you to reach into my sack and pull out a ball?
I don't recall.
Maybe he didn't.
No, he did.
I feel like no,
It was the one where he talked about the smelliest smell. Like
Oh, yeah.
pull out a ball.
Chauncey's poop bag is the smelliest smell.
Ball out of
Okay, all right.
Ooh. Ball.
And
Gotta get your.
shout out to Gossamer Gear. Use code SNUGGLEBUG for 20% off your Gossamer Gear shelter.
Pick one?
You gotta really get down to the elbow.
Violating.
I think this is foreplay right here.
Sorry. Okay.
One ball.
More like 5 play with the whole fist. All
What's
5
that about
fingers.
fluffing?
What? What is the weirdest thing you've ever eaten, and would you recommend it?
Ooh, you've got a good answer for this one, I'm sure.
Well, yeah.
You are an indiscriminate eater, and I mean this almost as a compliment
Yeah,
in
I'm
some
okay with
ways.
that.
But like, I feel like your appreciation with a meal at like Denny's is at the same level as if you were at like a Michelin star rated restaurant.
Absolutely.
Like, you just love food.
Yeah, give me. I am a utilitarian when it comes to eating.
Yeah.
Like I don't give a like. I can appreciate good fucking food, a good steak. I certainly have eaten at a 5-star Michelin rated restaurant and had like $100 steak before. The value does not equate properly in my brain because I don't make $100 steak money.
Sure.
You know, but like. I mean, I mentioned how I ate a chili mac with beef with Gatorade, purple Gatorade.
Yeah.
The story with that is a unique story, which I won't get into. But that I would not recommend eating that. I boiled the Gatorade water and then poured it into my chili mac with beef, and it tastes exactly like what you would think Gatorade beef chili mac, purple Gatorade beef chili mac would taste like.
Yeah.
But as far as the weirdest thing, I mean, I make weird shit all the time with like leftovers.
Can I give a quick story of you?
Yeah.
This is at Muir Trail Ranch. We're going through the Sierra. It's cold out, and this is the end of their season, and they have like the notorious hiker box set up.
Yeah.
Just amazing free food everywhere. And that was Jabba's peak hunger level. He was still a very hungry monster at that point.
Hungry boy.
And he ran into one of those like full. I think it's more than a pound summer sausage, like completely wrapped, brand new. Like it looks like.
By the way, that's gold. That's protein.
The thing that was amazing about it is I watched you eat the entire thing in less than a minute. It was like you were eating it like an apple. And
I was because I didn't want to pack it.
Yeah.
But I wanted the nutrition of it. You know what I mean?
It was literally over a pound of summer sausage.
Absolutely.
You ate the entire thing like a banana. It was amazing.
a sight.
I just the other day I made. Dude, when you're like running low on groceries, like I don't go and buy new groceries like typically while I'm
the same way.
I will like so when you're getting down to the nitty gritty of like whatever the former grocery store run was, like you might have
creative.
like you get creative. Yeah. I get like weird. I had a you know they're like pickled sausages, like the Big Mamas or the big what are they called? It's a pickled sausage in a wrapper that you buy at like a convenience store.
Okay. I
bought several of them. I think they're called like Big Mamas or something like that. And I'm a sucker for pickled things. I had these like vegan chilies from Costco. And I came back from that bike packing trip with Doozer with like still like some pack food because we didn't even spend a night out there. We did like 50 miles and then my shit broke. And so I had all these Big Mamas pickled sausages and I sliced them up and grilled them and then put them in my vegan chili. And dude, first of all, like, have you ever had a pickled sausage?
don't think so.
It's like spicy and hot.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a spicy hot pickled sausage is what
Yeah.
this is. So like it almost like makes your like mouth like make like a sour like face when you do that. And I just was like I made 2 of them and I ate it all and it was just like nobody else in their right mind would have enjoyed this like at all. And I know that doesn't sound that weird and I'm not recommending it, but like I have had hundreds of moments of like combining weird shit that people would just be like, "What the fuck are you eating, dude?" And I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, there's not no flavor, and it has nutrients that I require. Especially like the last few months, and I've been like training. Like I have like 2,000, 3,000 caloric output days of active caloric output, not even passive caloric output. Like I don't give a fuck what it is. Just get it in me, you know, like so I can have energy. That's all. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's one of those things that happens so often. It's probably hard to pick apart one thing that stands out as the weirdest thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's because it's too constant for me.
Yeah. I'm sure this question of the day is a Chance original.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Wait, I just came up. I just thought of one. Okay. So, I had like a bunch of broccoli, and I wanted to make like an egg thing, but
Scramble.
like, so I blended a bit of milk, eggs, and broccoli. And I like blended it, like pulverized it, made a puree. And then, this is fucking insane. And it actually happened to be like on St. Patrick's Day. So the puree turned green.
Yeah.
Completely.
Festive.
Was it broccoli or was it a different green? No, it was spinach. Excuse me, spinach. And so, but instead of like just making a scramble, I decided to make French toast. So it was green French toast, and then I made a fucking bacon, turkey, egg, and cheese with it. So for spinach
like
French toast,
McGriddle of all time.
Oh yeah, oh it was so fucking weird. And then I even and then I think I even put maple syrup on it and hot sauce.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. If it happens that often, it's hard to just pick apart.
100%. Like it just came to me. Sorry to interrupt.
That was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was.
All right.
This kind of goes back to the how many owls would you have to see before you're concerned?
Yeah.
How surprised would you be, realistically, to see a dragon flying in the sky?
100%.
Wait,
All
what?
of it.
But I mean, we get all these articles now about UFOs. I saw one the other day that was like the most realistic UFO footage ever has finally been released. I didn't even click it. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
If it was a dragon, would you be any more like caring?
I would be more surprised by a dragon than a
Yeah.
UFO.
I would be more surprised.
First of all, I thought
but,
you
like,
was asking about a literal dragonfly because you said a dragonflies.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was like,
No.
they're everywhere. What are you talking about?
No, an actual dragon flying. I would be surprised, but
What
like,
do you mean? Of course you'd be surprised. Anyone would be surprised. It's the most ridiculous shit anyone could see in this.
Like, I might text someone about it.
Way bigger, way crazier than a UFO.
I would be surprised, but I wouldn't be shocked.
What are you talking about? You might shit your pants. You might shit your pants if you saw a dragon.
I'd be like,
especially if it was a fire-breathing dragon and it was
I'd be
coming
like,
at
whoa.
you. Have you seen The
That's
Hobbit?
different. That's different. I'm talking
I'm
like
yelling,
it's
sorry.
just flying.
About
You just
that.
see it flying past, and you're like, whoa, that's different.
Bro.
The world's about to change a bit.
No, see, there's too much. There's too much like UFOs could be real, aliens could be real. The universe is infinite, and maybe somewhere in the universe there could be dragons, but on this planet there aren't. All right, and we know that for a fact. All right, the Loch
Tom's
Ness.
done the research.
Yeah, I've checked every nook
Dragon
and cranny.
expert.
The Bigfoot ain't real, and the Loch Ness monster ain't real.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs used to be real, but there weren't any.
That's what he's actually doing on all these trips. He's just checking.
The biggest that we know of fossil wise, the biggest flying dinosaurs are like pterodactyls and shit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of like
You know?
a dragon.
That's not a dragon.
Kinda.
Not in the fantasy realm of what we consider to be dragons.
Yeah, I'd say a big difference between those two is one doesn't breathe fire,
Right.
So you'd
and
be
also one doesn't exist. present
you-
day.
Also, the size of a dragon, generally speaking, is generally speaking, y'all. You know how big dragons are? Yeah, you're not gonna just be like, oh, look at that, a dragon. You're gonna fucking freak the fuck out.
yeah.
You're gonna. I'm telling you. I'll figure out how to get one fly past you one of these days, and I will stand there with your bag of backcountry underneath your butt while you poop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think shit your pants is the only correct answer
Yeah.
for this one.
Shit your pants. Again.
This is my submission for a Triple Crown segment. This is the Triple Crown of seemingly simple things that just don't make sense.
Oh.
Like things that exist in the world. I'll give my first example, and then you guys can
Okay,
work
I've got
on
my
yours.
first one.
Fuck.
But I'm not always, but oftentimes blown away, especially here in Colorado, that the difference in felt temperature between being in direct sunlight and just like the smallest cloud going by can be like the difference of like
Freezing.
20 degrees.
Yeah. Or more.
And just like a ball of wet air, a small wet ball of air between you and this fiery burning thing burning millions of miles away is the difference between those 20 degrees. I know the
ball
scientific
of wet.
I know the scientific explanation, but it still doesn't compute to me
Yeah.
every time that it happens.
Yeah, you could be like covered in sweat in the sun, baking, feeling like feeling like 85 is 105.
Yeah.
And then you get in the shade, and all of a sudden you're like practically shivering.
Hypothermic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Doesn't make sense.
that's a good one.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Airplanes flying. This is why I'm afraid of flying.
Yeah.
And they say the more you read about it, the more it's supposed to make sense. The more I read about it, the less it makes sense.
Wait,
These
the
things
more
are
you read about what?
just like the fact that airplanes can fly.
You're reading about them more and it's making less sense?
Yeah, like they're these large fucking heavy things. Like you can't lift one; it's so heavy. You
can't.
And it can float in the
You
sky.
can't lift them. I checked.
I tried, but
No,
it floats in the sky for like a large amount of time.
Yeah, especially when you consider how an airplane started at Kitty Hawk, and with like fabric wings, wood and fabric, and that's how they started flying. Was just like a couple of dudes like on basically a glorified fucking bicycle with wings, essentially.
Every time I'm in a plane sobbing about how little it makes sense, I'm like sitting there just thinking about like this doesn't make any fucking sense. This shouldn't happen.
Do you have an irrational fear of flying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Big
Like-
time. It's
like
that's a recurring
hysterically
thing.
crying.
Is it getting worse
Okay.
now that all these Boeing's not doing a very good job with some
I'm
of
really
their planes?
I'm intentionally avoiding the news.
Yeah.
I have a 10-hour flight to Italy coming up, and
Yeah.
I am
Yuck.
feeling sorry for Garrett already
Yeah.
about it. But when we flew
Can you
back
drug
from
yourself? Can he drug
I do
you?
drug myself. I have
Okay.
medicine for it.
Okay.
It does. It helps a bit.
But it doesn't totally help.
Drinking also helps a bit.
Sure.
Doing both together
Yeah.
helps put me to sleep a bit.
So you're a drug addict.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yes.
Only at 40,000
Yeah,
feet.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not illegal in the air. No one, nobody owns the air. God owns the air. God,
Honestly,
God
I've gotten
loves me.
some really kind stewardesses. Like, you tell a stewardess, hey, I don't do well with this, just like heads up, they slip you wine left and right.
They
They're
dose
like,
you. They
yeah.
dose you even further.
They're like, we don't want to deal with you. Take this. Bless Garrett's soul, he deals with it a lot. But like, I don't know. It's just like how like this is so large, it's so heavy, and it's floating. I know
is-
it's
it is
not
crazy.
actually floating. I know the word isn't floating. I know it does things that aren't floating, but it's fucking floating. It doesn't make
kinda
any
floating,
sense.
yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Like, just like for a while, too.
Yeah, for a good time.
For a large amount of time. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so mine is I got two, and one is going to be very contentious, and I'll get that out of the way first. The government's stealing our money with taxes every year. I don't get it.
So you're libertarian is what you're saying.
I mean, I don't even know what the fuck a libertarian is.
Yeah, okay.
You know, but seriously, like,
I like this. If the IRS was optional, I wouldn't do it.
I
don't
just
think
can't.
anyone would.
I just can't believe we were founded by people that didn't want to pay taxes, and now we're like taxed out of the dick hole.
Yeah.
I think
know?
it was the representation that they didn't like.
Yeah, I
about
know.
the taxes, but
I get it.
Yeah.
But like the representation nowadays is like
now we're represented by Pfizer.
yeah, like corporations are just lining the pockets of the politicians who are our representatives.
Yeah.
Like taxation, that's who is our representation. Are the corporations, but we are paying the government, and then it's just fucked up. So what my real one is, that's not as real as that, because that's just
A little too real.
Dark.
a little too real. The moon pulls the water from one side of the planet to the other.
I like that.
That's a crazy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Balloons to what? So like, and what's also crazy is like the water just stays wherever the moon is. So the water gets
Sort of.
oblong. I mean, not entirely, obviously.
I mean,
but it gets oblong to that side,
Yeah.
and we just are spinning with the water's like moving around
Yeah.
the fucking continents.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The sun factors into that too.
No doubt. No
Yeah.
doubt.
I'm gonna pretend like I know anything here, but I'm also blown away by that. But I think it's just gravity.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know it is gravity.
Yeah.
But like to just understand that like the liquid on our planet is
Getting pulled toward this
toward
fucking
a different
rock
side
and-
of the
Yeah.
world,
Yeah.
depending on where our rotation is with the moon.
or the fact that the same side of the moon is always facing us.
That is also crazy. Or even so what? Yesterday was or the eclipse.
Yeah.
What are the odds that the moon is the perfect size
That is
of the
crazy.
sun?
That is crazy.
When it distance wise to our eyes, it covers up the sun almost perfectly.
I think that one doesn't qualify because that's not a seemingly simple thing. That's a crazy thing.
Yeah,
And
that's
and
true.
maybe there is a good.
But that just is crazy.
No,
in
it is
general.
crazy for
Yeah.
sure. I agree with you. The fact.
So the
that,
tides are a seemingly simple. Oh, it's a high tide. It's low tide because of something that takes how long to get there in a fucking spaceship that's traveling tens of thousands of miles per hour?
yeah, yeah,
It's insane.
those are good ones.
Yeah.
I think all things don't make sense to me, so this will be
Yeah,
easy.
this is
We're in a
good.
simulation. That's why.
Okay, your next one. You get two.
He did too.
I did
What was
too.
your
He
first
hates
one?
the government.
Oh, yeah.
Hate
Okay, yeah.
Taxes, and I get money that's
I
tax
thought you were
free.
segueing from taxes to the moon as in they were one.
Yeah, well,
for some reason in my brain.
If the moon were made of,
If the moon were made out of cheese, would you eat?
would you eat it? I know I would, Colin.
My next one is eyesight.
Uh,
Like, have you ever closed your eyes and just thought, like, if I move my arms around, it's gonna hit this shit? Like, there's shit around me, and I'll touch it,
Yeah.
and it's a certain distance, and I don't know how far it is until I bang into it. But if I open my eyes, like, it makes shapes out of these objects that I can see, and then I know the distance between them.
if I was a little
Like,
bit
that's
high right
fucking
now,
wild.
that would freak me out. I would be like,
Sometimes I think about that, and like sometimes I'll then close my eyes and be like, can I sense the distance of things? And you can kind of tell when you're getting close to hitting something, but to just be able to see it and it's got a shape and you can like just look at it and tell how far from you it is.
Well, what's crazy
That's
is your
nuts.
eyes actually see it upside down.
Yeah.
And then your brain flips it around.
I mean, that's a rabbit hole too.
Yeah.
But
another crazy thing about that is that technically there's a part in your field of vision in the center where you don't actually see anything.
Yeah, yeah,
and,
yeah.
and your brain's just
Filling
interpreting
in the gaps.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
you ever
Totally.
think, like, if there's-
That's why you're actually like you can see your nose, but your brain like removes it.
yeah.
Like you can see it, but like when
Yeah.
you're looking at me, you don't notice your
just
nose.
filtering it out.
Yeah.
I just think like imagine there was no light and you were just like everything was perpetual darkness and you were just bumping into shit because there was just shit in different places and you didn't know it was there.
I think we would evolve to be bats at that point. We would
But
use
that's
it.
what
Which would be
eyesight
cool.
is.
Yeah.
Eyesight just
Which
like
would
lets you
be
know where
cool.
shit is.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit further down the rabbit hole, what I'm going to say, but it's an interesting. Speaking of like sight and light, if you were to pause time, like if you were like, oh, I'm going to freeze everything, pause it, like the time does not proceed forward or backwards, pause. Everything will be black because light needs to travel for you in order for you to see anything.
Whoa.
Your eyes are just seeing light. All right, you're not seeing objects. You're seeing the light from the object. So if you pause things, then light would be paused, meaning everything's black.
Sure. Like when you're looking at stars, you're looking at the past.
Yeah.
My last one is fax machines.
Oh my God, the magic of the fax machine eludes me.
Yeah. I mean, you could do all technology really, but like this was the OG technology. That's like, you did what now? What the fuck? Like you put a copy of a thing into a large phone and then you dial somebody else's large box of a phone and then a copy of it just gets spit out of the asshole of that phone.
Yep.
Like, what is happening right now? Like, explain that to me.
Some nerd made turned a phone into a paper sender.
Yeah.
Across the globe.
Like a phone makes sense, sort of, not really.
No.
But
Well, just use that. They had to lay the transatlantic cable in order to be able to send Morse code across the ocean at one point. And just Morse code was like, oh my God, we're sending Morse code across the fucking ocean,
Yeah.
or whatever. And maybe it wasn't Morse code through the transatlantic cable. Maybe it was actual telephone. I've not spun up on that history.
We're getting dangerously close to my third one.
But think the idea of a fax machine to somebody who only used to deal in Morse code.
yeah.
That's revolutionary. But here we are with these fucking things that used to take. This is a supercomputer that 50 years ago would have taken up an entire building.
Yeah.
Yeah. An entire building.
And somehow fax machines still blow my mind more than
I should say more
iPhone.
like 70 years ago for something like this, 50s and 60s, I
Sure.
guess.
Yeah.
Fax machines.
Don't you have
Fucking
two?
glorified phone.
That was all three of mine.
Mine's,
Clouds. Oh wait, no, I do have a third one. Shit, you're right.
is it clouds?
No, my third one is. So if you break a bone,
Where
right,
did clouds come from?
the fact that it's so much hotter in direct sunlight versus having a cloud in between. My third
Or
one,
just moisture in the air.
yeah. If you break a bone, not only does it heal, but it comes back stronger. But if you get a cavity in your tooth, you have to go to the fucking dentist and they have to do crazy shit. Like it can't just heal on its own.
Yeah, that is kind of wild.
It's bone.
Teeth are stupid.
Teeth
in a
are
lot of
very
ways.
dumb.
Yeah.
Teeth are the dumbest bone in the body.
Yeah.
Idiots.
Teeth are the dumbest bone in the body. Well, what's crazy is that hair and fingernails will grow after we're dead.
Really?
What?
Yeah. No, that's not bones.
For how long?
I don't know for how long, but they will.
So if we dug up a dead body underground, it would just be all fingernail.
I think there's a stopping point, I'm sure, and
There's
I don't.
his hair poking
I
out of the
just know
coffin.
that's a thing. That's
It's like when you chop off a chicken's head, it's still running around.
and what's the point of
Growing
having
hair.
baby teeth and then having adult teeth?
Yeah.
Why
Practice.
is there such a thing as having baby teeth? Obviously, your heads are getting bigger, but the adult teeth are down in there somewhere.
Yeah.
I
Right?
think it'd be so great to get a second set of adult teeth. Imagine when you
Yeah,
were 30.
that would be the
If
shit.
you were 30, you lost your youth teeth. I don't know what you would call them. But then you got a new try. They just gave you new ones.
Yeah.
And you're more wise and responsible at that point.
I think those are called
and will
dentures.
actually care for them.
Well, I'm with you. There should be a 30 and up. We come in with our third set of teeth.
I'll even
Why
keep the
does a
babies.
second set come along? But you can't if you get cavities, you can't regenerate that by growing a third set of teeth or something like that. That is dumb.
I'm fine with 2 sets of teeth, but I would like to wait to get the second set until after my brain's done fully
The
forming.
third set should also have canine incisors as well.
yeah.
I want to basically start
cool.
broaching the becoming a wolf man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
like
a third
that.
set of teeth would be for me.
Yeah. Big time Wolfman
Real
teeth vibe.
Teen wolf, more like an adult wolf dad. All right, I'm a man now. Look at my
man
adult
wolf.
teeth. I have wolf teeth.
Dom just starts howling out of nowhere.
You shut up! You shut up! You shut.
Oh, his teeth are coming in again. You can tell he's teething.
By the way, sobriety is all,
40-year-old
all the
Jabba
rage,
teething.
gang. All the rage. It's great. You stop drinking, you become a wolf.
Whose turn is it?
It's
Mine.
Chaucer's.
Mine's less fun now after that one, but the internet, I just like the internet in general. It started wild and it's still wild. The thought process I had here started with just the radio, the fact that you can say sounds into again, if we're really thinking about it, back to the eyesight thing, this is just like a fucking shape in the middle of nowhere. I could say sounds to this. Also, what are sounds? And it
We're
goes
really
into
breaking it down
this,
now.
and someone across the fucking world can listen to those sounds.
Yeah.
But then you make that bigger, and you think like, I can look at this piece of metal, and someone across the world can see me through my metal piece. So wild. And then you think about, okay, well, does it end there? No, like the fucking internet in general. That's all of those things combined. Wild. Insane.
It is crazy.
Insane.
I fucking hate the internet.
Yeah, but porn's pretty cool.
Dude, but like back in the day, you used to be like, oh, I'm getting into like a wild chat room and I'm gonna lie about who I am when
Yeah,
I'm
right.
in like middle school trying to like
ASL?
see a
Yeah.
boob, you know? Age 6 language, boob. But like the internet has become a far like we, you know, 20 years ago it was like, oh, we have access to all the knowledge in the world. But it's like nowadays it's like all the knowledge in the world is fucking fake.
All the knowledge
Like
in
it's
the world
all
is
just a
access to us.
lie.
Yeah.
Like it's all misinformation to keep us pacified, you know, so that people can operate in the shadows and take our money.
Sure. It all comes full circle.
Okay, my turn.
We're gonna have to do a round 2 of this one. I like this one.
So you mean round 4? Is that what you mean?
No,
we're
like-
on round 3.
No, I mean like
Another-
a future episode.
yeah,
we
sure,
do
sure,
this
sure.
again.
Okay. So this table.
Yeah.
That's it.
This table is hard. I can break my hand on this table.
You're not actually making atom to atom contact.
You're not trying.
This table is made of mostly nothing atomically speaking.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing to this.
Yeah.
You know, like so why can't my hand pass through it?
Okay, so this is something we talked about in physics in high school that I never actually got over, which was that, like, let's say I'm walking into a door and I keep hitting the fucking door, but we're all just moving atoms. If I were to, in theory, hit the door enough times, there could be a time where all of our atoms just miss each other and I can go through the door.
Yeah.
That's fucking wild.
Well, that's just like from a standpoint of like an infinite number of things are possible.
But
if
the
you-
idea that one of those possibilities is I could go through this door.
Yeah.
I mean,
Have
it's
you ever seen David Blaine? He does it all the time.
Yeah, but I don't believe that.
Yeah. So the first time I like learned that, I was just like, what? That's
That it
like this is just a table. Like shut up. I can't put my head through it. All right. I'll try. Namely when I'm 21 and drunk, I'll try. All right.
This thing is air. I can go through.
I can prove it.
I can go
I
through
can prove
air.
it on a scientific level. Get your cameras out. Yeah, that's
Sweet.
it. Table.
That was fun. That was a good
Yeah.
one.
I
Maybe we
love
should bring that back. Mailbag.
I think. Oh, okay. I think we've said this 5-star review before. Mailbag. Love the show. You guys make rainy days at work feel more like sunshine. That's nice. Megan. Hello from Ireland. Love your show. Yesterday I heard that one of your listeners reported having nightmares about tapeworms after listening to you talking about tapeworms. I'm afraid that last night I had a nightmare about having tapeworms come out from all over my glutes. There appears to be some sort of tapeworm disrupting the collective unconscious. How does this stop? Thanks, Louise.
Did we do this one too? feel
I don't remember this one.
Okay.
I remember the 5-star review though.
Yeah. Well, thank you to Luis and Megan. You can reach us at podcast@thetrek.co, or we have a mailbag feature on backpackerradio.com. Chance is right. I think we've done this 5-star review. We have plenty of new 5-star reviews, but I'm too lazy to dig it up, so we'll save that for a future episode. But if you guys want to hear your review right on this podcast, head on over to Apple Podcasts. Leave us any number of stars, just not 1, 2, 3, or 4. And you will have it right on the show. And we're still doing stickers for people who leave us a review, screenshot it, and then email us, podcast@thetrek.co.
Yeah. We had to complicate it a bit more than we had.
Yeah. Super big thank you to our Chuck Norris Award winners on Patreon. That is Alex and Misty with Navigators Crafting, Andrew, Austin McDaniel, Austin Ford, Brad and Blair from 13 Adventures, Brent Stenberg, Brian Alsop,
Fables.
Christopher Marshburn, Coach from Marine Outdoors, Dane,
Ish.
Derek Cook, Eric Casper,
The Friendly Ghost.
Eric Hoffman, Greg Knight, Greg McDaniel, Jason Snaler,
Barely know her.
Liz Seeger, Patrick Ciancialo, Spam, Timothy Hahn,
Solo.
and Tracy Trigger. Struggling through the end of this one. I need to go sleep. You can follow us on social at Backpacker Radio on TikTok and Instagram, at Backpacker Pod on Twitter or X, Facebook.com/Backpacker Radio. You can follow Tom.
Jeez, is that my name?
Yeah.
Tom.
Don't wear it out.
Don't wear it out. 3 letters. It's so weird to hear anyone in the backpacking or outdoor industry like say my first name.
Actually, this does bring up one of the questions I had for the episode. Maybe we'll just dive into it quickly. That is, let me dig it up.
Why do you hate your own name?
No.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this question.
I don't see the exact question, but at what point do you, off trail, do you stop referring to somebody by their trail name and using their prison?
Prison. That's, I still call, like, let's put it this way. Cuckoo and I still call each other by trail names, like, strictly.
Exclusively.
He
Yeah.
hates when I call him Bruce.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I forget sometimes that his name is Bruce.
Right? Because because it doesn't feel like that's his name because it's Cuckoo.
Yeah.
Like Lieutenant Cuckoo Bird.
Yeah.
I think I call most people off trail their trail name still. The only person I don't really do that with is Mims. I call her Mims over Fireball, but I met her as Fireball. And I think the reason why she's the one I call her name is because the majority of people around us call her that name. So then I'm like doing something different and odd versus if it's just us one-on-one, I'm still going to call you your trail name. If like we're around a group that we're not frequently around, like when Deadpool comes to visit, he's still Deadpool no matter how many people we're around. But because me and Mims have a friend group that we see frequently and those people in the friend group always call her Mims, it feels weird for me to still hang on to Fireball.
Well, like,
will Garrett call your pal Deadpool or by?
He calls him Deadpool.
Okay.
Like I don't even remember Deadpool's first name a lot of the time.
well, do you remember when? So I met you as not Badger. I met you as Zach Davis.
Yeah.
And I think you met me as like the hiking Viking.
Yeah.
So you called me Viking.
Yeah.
No, and so like it wasn't until probably the last few years that you started calling me Tom because you've been off trail for a long time now.
And hey, I still walk
So
everywhere I
long.
go.
You know what I'm saying?
So long.
No, I, for me, I think the answer to the question is just how much time do you spend with a person in an off-trail context?
Correct. Absolutely.
Because if you're around that person a lot, it does feel strange to be hey shit pants like.
But like every year I hike, so like using trail names feels normal to me.
Yeah.
You know, like I like meeting people with weird names is like normal to me.
Yeah.
By and large.
I wonder if you were like roommates with Cuckoo Bird and you guys weren't doing a lot of backpacking, let's say, like at what point, if at all?
Because then it might call him Cuckoo Bird like at his place of like where he works or something
Yeah.
like that.
And you're introducing your friends to him as Cuckoo Bird. And
Well, I do that.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if you spent more time with him, I think that would fade.
When's the last time somebody called you Badger to your face?
Like at Trail Days when I reunite with like we had Melissa Clicks on the episode a few years ago. She still calls me Badger. So like people that know me mostly on trail.
How does that feel at this point when people call you Badger? What does it do
It takes
to
me
you?
back. I like it.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I'm on
Using
trail.
trail names is good.
Yeah.
Because those are our like either chosen by us ourselves or chosen by our friends as our nicknames, whatever you want to call it. Like trail names, like there's a certain amount of special built into that because of what you did to like earn it, so to speak.
But do you not think that Zach calls you Tom now more so because you hang out with a mutual friend group?
They all call me Viking.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh.
That
ruins my theory.
His wife calls me Viking. I've never heard her call me Tom.
Well, because I was going to say in terms of the living with someone question, like I lived with Ballflap for 2 years and I still call him Ballflap,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah.
And so that, like I think with Mims, it's because we had a shared group of friends that we are around frequently enough where I hear other people calling her Mims so frequently that Fireball starts to feel like the outlier.
Yeah. That
Do
makes
you
sense.
remember when we started the PCT and I had to like get in the habit of like remembering to call you Badger?
Vaguely.
It took me like weeks to like internalize that I had to call you by
sure.
your trail name.
Yeah.
Because you would just call me Viking, and I was like, you got to call me Jabba, and I got to call you Badger.
Right. And
so we had
especially
to,
when we're communicating with other hikers.
You gotta call me
and
Nighthawk.
that was why, because it was like confusing when we're meeting other hikers, and they know me as Jabba and you as Badger.
Yeah.
When we're calling each other by our like, you're calling me Viking, and I'm calling you Zach.
Yeah.
It's like not. It didn't mix. It didn't mix.
Well,
properly.
that's why Chauncey stuck, was because there was two different trail names that were getting tossed around in the desert, and we were like trying them out, but everyone already had known me as Chance. And so we'd meet new people and I'd introduce myself as X trail name. And then everyone around us would be calling me Chance, and they'd think that either I was lying to them or just like suspicious of them in some way, that I was making up a name.
And my name is Chance.
Yeah.
Like, did you just make that up? No, it's actually my fucking last name.
No. I would say like, hey, my name's City, or hey, my name's Wrangler. And then everyone else would be like, yo, Chance. And they're like, why are you telling me a different name?
I got you.
Yeah.
I love that, like, trail names are a thing. I think it's like half the fucking fun of like going on a long distance hike.
To reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
A new identity.
Yeah, I mean, and then I did reinvent, literally, reinvented myself and became something new.
Yeah.
My former self didn't die, but something else got layered on top that became, an updated version that I love. I'll like people that change their trail names. I've got no hate for that, but I personally like. I don't personally understand why you would like change unless you just flat out hated your name or something like that, which, by the way, why'd you ever take it to begin with? I don't know. But like to be able to like, a decade later, just I can still introduce myself to people as this Jabba person. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I think it's great.
Subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on YouTube. What's up, YouTube?
Hey, Internet.
Thanks for watching. And that is it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening, and happy hiking.
Bye.